Go. Cut the fix up. With some Xbox babies, put the switch up. See me gearing up for war, don't get it mixed up. I'm bringing commentary and a new releases. I put them hours in. They get play on X, scared, draw you on a Forza. If you ain't tuned into head down, we supposed to put the switch up, gearing up for up. I come in, I'm bringing new release. Put them hours paired, expert level, don't be scared now. I'ma destroy you on a Forza, I can tear down. If you ain't tuned into the channel, keep your head down.
Yo, 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 welcome to The Fix. You're here with myself, Infinite Umbra, and I'm joined, of course, by my co-star, co-host, Daniel J. McGee.
Hey, everybody. Thanks for coming.
You always say it like Dr. Hibbert off of Simpsons. Hey, everybody.
Hey, everybody.
Hey, everybody.
Welcome to the show.
Welcome.
Well, there's your problem.
All right. Thanks for joining us, guys. We are joined here by a returning guest. I called him the Destiny official, since he knows so much about it. If you go back to that episode, you would have thought you were talking to one of the developers of the game, since he knows so much. And actually, it's funny because we have two guests here tonight who are like, you know, so well entrenched into a franchise that you could go to them and learn a lot about it. So first up, a returning guest, Crusader, my brother. How have you been, brother? Thanks for joining us.
I have been incredibly busy, but I am good. I was almost late to the show tonight, but I did make it here on time.
You made it. Yes, indeed.
And I have been playing an incredibly large amount of Destiny since the final shape dropped, because holy crap, the expansion was fire.
Nice. So I've heard nothing but positives about it, which is kind of a stark contrast when you think about
Yeah,
Halo.
no, the last expansion was bad.
And yeah, because I remember the last time we had you on here talking about it, and you were not that positive on it at first. So they turned it around, though.
The expansion was really, really good. The seasonal content is kind of meh. It's okay. It's not bad. It's not great. It's kind of average for their seasonal content. But the everything that was included with the expansion proper is excellent.
Nice.
Like out of this world excellent. Like we just kind of kept finding new things to just do.
That's beautiful.
I think I spent all day Saturday running people through. There's an exotic mission that came out that requires 2 players.
Mm-hmm.
And there's a lot of solo players who, like, you know, they don't really go on to do stuff. So I've been going on the Xbox LFG, and I've been searching for players who have never run it before, so that they can get their first clear, so that they can get the exotic to because it's an exotic with random attributes, so that they can get it to drop in the destination itself. After you beat the mission once, it just drops from like any source in the expansion. So I've been helping the Destiny community with that.
Nice. All right.
On Xbox.
Yeah. So how much was it for this expansion, by the way?
So how much is the expansion itself? I believe it's $50.
Okay, but you feel like it was all
how much
worth
did
it.
I pay? Way more than that.
Oh, you paid more.
I bought the physical collector's edition.
Got you. Okay, and you would say it was all well worth it.
Oh yeah.
All right. All right. Now I'm not big of a collector like that, so that it never really mattered to me. To me, it comes down to just being clutter at the end of the day. I love it, but I don't want to have it. You know what I mean?
Sure.
It's why I've gone all digital anyway since the beginning of the 8th gen. So, yeah, but it's cool, man. I'm glad that they turned it around, and a lot of people are enjoying
real
it.
well. They turned it around real well.
That's good news. So, what have you been up to besides Destiny? Has it just been a Destiny fest, or like you've been watching anything lately, or what?
In gaming, it's basically just been Destiny. I'm going to be switching from Destiny over to, I'm trying to remember the name of the ARPG. It's kind of like Diablo. They're gonna have their new season on
Is it?
It's called Last Epic.
Oh, Last Epoch.
Yeah.
I love that game, man. My
I will
buddy
be.
put me on it.
I have it. I played a little bit of it when it launched.
Mhm.
But my friend wants me to hop in when the new I don't know, what is it, season? What do they call them?
Yeah, I guess you can call it the season.
The new update that launches the new content that's coming out in July.
Mm-hmm.
I'll be hopping in for that.
All right, that's perfect. Yeah, maybe you could jump in with me and my buddy sometime. Like me and my buddy Casual, we play it all the time. Well, we did play it all the time. I put a good maybe 80 hours into that. So yeah, something like that. Yeah, it's on my Steam. Very enjoyable game. I think gushed over it more than I did, but I still prefer Diablo over it overall. But it is a really
my
fun,
favorite
fun
is
game.
Diablo 3. I like
Mhm.
Diablo 3 the most of all the ARPGs, but I play Diablo 3 highly competitively on the leaderboards
I
when
see.
the seasonal content comes out.
Oh, I think you told me about that. You sure did.
Yeah.
Yeah.
For the not the last season, but the one before, I was on the top 10 of the. I unironically play Crusader. No link to my name whatsoever.
It's funny you
but
say
I do
that.
play the Crusader class in Diablo 3, and I was on the leaderboard in the top. I was number 1 for a day, and I was in the top 10 for about a week and a half.
It's funny you say that because
in North America.
I typically prefer the Crusader class as well. So like I don't know what it is. I feel like the Paladin or the Crusader is like my go-to typically.
I'll play just about any game, but
Mhm.
I love my looters. Like not
feel
even
you.
just looter shooters. Like I love my loot-driven games.
Yeah. No, I feel you. Also too, like unless I'm playing like Diablo, I play Rogue. I like Rogue a lot.
Sure.
Outside of 3, because 3, yeah, that Paladin, but at the end of it, I did switch to Rogue, and then 4, I used Rogue, and I loved it. But no, man, that's cool. I think you'll like it a lot at Last Epoch. It's really solid. There was a fiasco I had with it at one point, trying to like, cause I'm an aesthetic kind of thought when it comes to these types of games. So I'll buy all the nice little outfits or whatever. And it was a bit of an issue where I tried to purchase it through their in-game store, and it was like a whole runaround. So I would suggest you highly look into that if you're going to try to buy any DLC from them as far as microtransactions for the clothing fits and stuff. But anyway, that's cool, man. Yeah, I hope you enjoy it. Let us know about that next time I talk with you, how it turned out for you. And new guest and now longtime buddy of mine, longtime brother, young Kiryu, as you all can see him on the screen. Kiryu, brother, thank you for joining us, man, and welcome to the show.
Good evening. Thanks for letting me on.
I was gonna say, are you still like trying to murder that boss in
Oh no. I don't want to crash out live, so I turned that off. That's to the side. That's for later.
Perfect.
I was in a pretty great mood, and then I didn't realize what time it was. I think I've been on this bus off and on for an hour and 20 minutes, so crashing out just a little bit.
Just a bit. It must be
just a bit.
Is it hot out there in Texas right now?
Oh, dude, yeah.
I can hear the fan.
Oh, you can?
It was
Yeah.
like
Shoot. Yes, it's hot.
it wasn't like
Today it's not as hot, but
What were you
the
saying,
past
Daddy?
couple of days it's hit 100 a few times.
it's hit 100 a couple of times, and it was I don't know what it was, but like was it yesterday morning or the day before? It was humid as hell. It was bad.
Yeah, I hate it.
was one of
We
those
had it
days.
hot here too, but it's been like raining as well here in Chicago, so we've had a mix. Yeah, like right now it's pretty lax. It's pretty laid back. I think it's like in the 80s right now, maybe less. Oh, is that? Oh,
Yeah.
wow, it's only 66 degrees out here right now.
66.
Yeah.
Oh, come on.
I love it.
That's
I'm
winter,
moving.
baby.
Hey, listen, I love it. It rained
That's too
the other
cold.
day
I don't
too.
like that.
Yeah, I know it must be too cold for you guys being out there in Texas. But
I would take that any day. I prefer that.
that's my style, man. Hell, I would move to like Seattle or something, let it rain all day, all week. That's my style. But yeah, brother, thanks for joining us. And what I know, obviously, you've been playing the Erdtree, Shadow of the Erdtree. So, have you played anything else outside of that? And or if not, how much?
Nope.
How much have you? You like, nope. How many hours have you racked up so far on Shadow of the Erdtree?
So on Shadow of the Erdtree, maybe 30, I think. I just happen to have to switch a lot of life scheduling stuff around right whenever the DLC came out. So the DLC came out, and then I had like a few hours to spare, and then I've been busy. But the last couple of days, I've been trying to hop on way more. And you played the original game like at launch, and I'm sure you remember how huge the map is on there.
Oh, yeah. I
This
heard-
one's the same.
Yeah.
They just styled it differently. So when you open it, you're thinking, "Oh, okay, that's not too big." No, it's like levels. I don't understand how to explain it. Like it's so everything is like nothing is straightforward like in the original game's map. Like you don't open the map, "Oh, let me follow my side of grace." Like no, it's just everything's weirdly connected and you have to go out of your way to figure it out.
Yeah.
Because I actually got ahead slightly early just because I didn't know so much to the left and right of me. Like, go over here and then look off a cliff and bam, there you go. Now you found a whole new area. Like, not just a little cave, like you found a whole new layout. It's been pretty insane.
It's always so cool to me. Like, I guess cool, but also daunting because you play these Souls games and it doesn't feel like the area you're going to is going to be that crazy. Because you play semi-open worlds and you're like, okay, it's manageable. Not in a Souls game. You go into a Souls game, it's like you just open up a whole new map. Sometimes they're really, really expansive. So it's funny. Like when I played the previous Souls games, like Dark Souls 2, for instance, or even Elden Ring itself, it's a crazy big map. I loaded it back up yesterday in preparation to play the DLC, and I was like, man, this map is massive. It is really insane when you really look at it and think about all the places you can go to on there. So shout out to FromSoftware, but I don't want to go too much into that now because we'll be asking you questions on it later on after the news roundup. So we'll hold on to that. And in the chat, if you guys have questions toward that about Shadow of the Erdtree, light them up in the chat right there. Let us know, and just form it with question, and then put your question out there to us so I can read it out. Also, just so you guys will know in the chat, we are giving away the 2 giveaways as far as the Hypercharge Unboxed from the Xbox Showcase predictions. That should have been done last week, but I kind of forgot. Sorry. But I will be crowning the winner tonight for that. And tonight as well, we'll be doing the wheel spin for the 155 entrants of the Shadow of the Erdtree giveaway. So thank you all for following and following the rules properly. So I didn't have to babysit you too much. I've had to do that in past contests. Only had to do it like twice in this one. So shout out to you all for most of you following the rules and being here. I see some in the contest in there right now. So stick around. We'll be announcing that in a while and doing a spin live so you can see that it's all by chance. And good luck to all of you. I hope it's one brother who hit me up and he was like, man, I entered the last one. I sure hope I win this one. And I was like, I hope you do too. I feel bad though, because it's 155 of you guys and only one can win. I almost feel like I need to have the contest and give away like another code. I might do it. If I'm generous enough, maybe I'll give away another one next week or something like that. I'll think about it. But last but not least, the co-star of the show and co-host, Daniel J. McGee. My brother, what have you been up to? What have you been playing and watching?
Honestly, not a ton. Like, I've been working on some little projects and stuff for the channel, so I've just been watching an old season of Survivor. It's Caramoan. I watched through the ending of that one and then started Blood versus Water, which is not a very good season.
No.
And then gaming wise, I haven't really done a ton myself. I was watching a friend play Jedi Survivor for a little bit, but that's pretty much it. Like honestly, it's been a lot of just working for me this week. Yeah,
I understand. I get it for sure. I have to watch the new season of what's the name of that again? I almost said Elden Ring.
Oh, Survivor?
Not Survivor. House of
the Boys.
House of Dragon.
House of Dragon.
Yeah, I have to watch that. Yeah, I'm. Are they 2 episodes in or just 1?
I think 2.
Yeah, I have to catch
maybe,
up.
I don't know when the 3rd one is, but it's probably soon. So
yeah, you're right. They typically air them on Sundays. Either way, I need to catch up.
I have no idea.
For The Boys, I've watched all 4 that have been put out, unless the new one has dropped already. But I've watched 4 episodes so far, and I know there's a lot of controversy around it, but I've enjoyed it so far. Yeah.
The controversy around The Boys is really funny to me because what it circles around is that they've started laying in a little extra hard into a certain group of people who will actually it plays really well into the Dr. Disrespect thing that we'll get into later, so I won't talk too much about that side of it.
It does,
But
doesn't it? Now that you mention
plays
that,
it plays really hard into the like, oh, people will apologize for anything that someone who they love on the internet or whatever will do. They'll just find excuses to appeal to like apologize for it. And those people are starting to feel called out, even though honestly they've kind of been making fun of those people since like season 1. But whatever.
yeah, they have. I think now they just hit dogs are hollering now. That's all it is.
A little bit.
Yeah. But other than that, I think it's a really good show. But yeah, man, I get it. It's hey, look, life and work comes before everything else. That's what it is. So
yeah, and we've had a lot of like call outs at work too, so I've been having to like not put in extra shifts, but like work extra hard when I'm there. So,
gotcha. Yeah.
yeah,
You're out there doing extra work and all that.
yeah, it is
Well,
what it is.
Extra harder work at least. But yeah.
Yeah,
It is what it is, man. Yeah, hopefully you get some more free time to, do the project you're working on as far as the channel and
look,
everything.
I'm having a lot of fun just waiting for this weekend,
There you go. There you go. Yeah, man. So let's go ahead and move myself. I guess I'll just say the game on the screen, Octopath Traveler 2. I am at the end of it now. I've done all the characters, chapters. Now I'm just wrapping up the rest of the achievements as far as doing the side missions and fighting the secret boss. That's really, really it. Little side stories here and there. Nothing major, which should be wrapped up probably tonight when I play it on my Rock Ally at work. Don't tell my boss. Anyway, so you guys, if you have not had a chance to play it, it's on Game Pass. So Octopath 1 and 2. Love them both. Right now, close to 200 hours into this game. I put in, I believe, over 250 in the first game. So I'm the type where when I get into a game I love and it's expansive or whatever, I really get into that game. So, but yeah, so if you guys are looking for a kind of a time sync, turn-based RPG, beautiful world, beautiful OST, I think you'll love Octopath. Nice characters too. Although I will say some of the stories once you play through it kind of irritated me because it was like, okay, why? I don't know if it's the inner black man in me because we start seeing stuff in movies and stuff. We be like, girl, get up and run. Why are you on the floor? So I'm seeing stuff happen. And I'm like, why are you not attacking this person while they're giving you a monologue? Why are you listening to them like one of the Power Rangers as they transform and you watch them do it? Like, kill this person. But anyway, that aside, it is a really good game. I think you guys will like it, so give it a chance. Let's move into the news roundup, Danny.
absolutely. So probably the most interesting thing to me video game wise that happened this week is Capcom announced a showcase. It's going to happen on July 1st, so pretty soon here, and it's going to be 25 minutes. And honestly, the showcase itself is probably not going to be that great because they're only showing off 3 games that they've said. They said there'll probably be some surprises, but they're really focusing on these 3, so I wouldn't expect anything too big outside of this. And 2 of the 3 I don't really care about. So they're talking about Resident Evil 7 going to like iOS and all that stuff. They're talking more about Kunitsugami, Path of the Goddess that we've seen a bunch of times. But the big thing is they announced that they're doing the Dead Rising Deluxe remake. So they're remaking the first Dead Rising game, which is really exciting to me because the first Dead Rising is actually one of the reasons why I bought a 360 in the first place. Because it might be hard to imagine at this point, but like seeing that game originally and seeing like the number of zombies on screen was really impressive. Now it feels like that's kind of like every zombie game.
Yeah, it seems like the standard nowadays, right?
Yeah, so I don't know, maybe they'll step it up a little bit for the remake. I don't think they really necessarily need to. I'm hoping that this is a very faithful remake.
It looked like it from the little bit they showed.
Yeah, the only thing that kind of throws me off is that they are still using the Dead Rising 4 voice actor. And I hope that doesn't mean that they're also like rewriting certain scenes to be more in line with like the Dead Rising 4 humor, because the Dead Rising 4 humor was awful. Actually, just in general, Dead Rising 4 was really, really bad.
I've never played it either, part 4. So
yeah. Dead Rising 1 is the gold standard.
Mm-hmm.
Dead Rising 2 is maybe slightly worse, but it's like, there's a case to be made that maybe it's better depending on what your flavor is. 3 is okay, and then 4 is ass. Like, don't even bother with 4.
Yeah. Okay. Well, like most of them, I've only kind of, what's the word people would say? I only kind of scratched the surface and kind of left. I didn't really put much time into any of them. Even part 1, I watched mostly my nephew play that, and I was like, okay, it's all right. But I didn't really get into that. But I think with this remake, maybe I might give it a chance this time and see
Yeah,
what's up.
jump on in. I'm excited to see what they say about it because I want to know about like if they're gonna put all of the modes back in, because there's one mode called, I think it's like survivor mode or something. It's there's an achievement called 72 hour survivor, and you have to stay in game for a real 72 hours, which is in real world time I want to say like 8 or 9 hours. Like it's long.
Oh, wow.
Like you have to put in a work shift of just playing this game and not dying, and it's because it's a survival mode. Your character is also slowly dying, so you have to like go out and hunt for food, and there's like the psychopaths are out there doing stuff. Like it's pretty tough. Like
So-
there were very specific guides about it.
So you can't like hide somewhere and then
You can, but you have to go out and grab food before you hide, right? And
Okay.
then some of that food, like, is that food going to be enough to tide you over? I'm pretty sure that that's what the guide was like for the old 360 version. Is it was like, okay, so you go here, here, and here, and you grab these foods and you eat them at this amount of time, right? So you
Mhm.
have to like set alarms in your real life, so you run back over to the Xbox and do the thing.
Yeah, that's one achievement I'll probably never get. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know if they'll do it for the remaster because honestly, like, it's a cool bit, like, it's a lot of fun
Yeah.
as like a thing for that. Like, it's such a like a product of 2000 whatever when that game came out. Like, what is that, like 2008 or
2000.
something?
I think that earlier.
I have no idea, but it's very much a product of that. Whereas I don't think necessarily it would go over as well now unless they made it more fun. Because really, what it turns into is kind of just standing around waiting for the achievement to pop.
Yeah.
So
Let me see if I can find that. The original.
it would have been pretty close to the launch of the 360, which I think was like 2005,
Something like that, right? It had to be
So-
about 2006 or something like that. Let me see.
maybe. That would make sense.
Yep, 2006, August 8th.
Either way, I'm really excited about it because it was that and Fallout 3 were the reasons that I bought a 360. So
Mm-hmm.
I'm in.
It
I'm
was
down.
it was definitely one of the highlights for the game. I remember them talking about it. Also, even Dead Rising 4, because remember they were talking about how the sound from the Kinect would pick up the zombies would pick up on that type of stuff. And
That was 3, but yes.
oh, it's
Yeah.
3. That's right. It was 3.
3 was the one where it launched with the Xbox One, and so they were talking about how you would they were also talking about how you would have a third screen, second screen, whatever. There was like a thing you could do on your phone where you could like call in airstrikes and shit. I
Mhm.
never got that to work. But whatever. So
yeah, that was
they
3.
were
That's right. That was what the
they were pushing a lot of stuff with that one.
It was like
The game is good
mechanic or
despite
something
all
like
of
that.
the like yeah. There's a lot of like weird gimmicks that they tried to put into 3 that just like didn't really work, and it is fun despite those things.
Mhm.
And then in 4 there aren't any gimmicks. It's just a bad game.
I know they had like brought in Street Fighter characters and stuff like that, or something like that. Or
Yeah,
it's-
that was I think that might have actually been the tail end of 2 because there was the like Super Deluxe Ultra Plus Alpha whatever like super long ass title
Yeah.
of that one DLC.
that's the tradition of Street Fighter game titles. Yeah.
Yeah, they might have done it in 3 too, but they definitely did it in 2.
All right, that's cool. So July 1st, everybody,
First.
everyone
Hey.
keep an eye peeled out for that. And they said it's going to be more than just that being shown off, right? Some other announcements. Right?
Yeah, they told us that it was Final Fantasy Resident Evil 7 going to Apple stuff, and it was the Path of the Goddess game, and then they were like and more, but the and more is probably like not a ton.
Yeah.
So just like if you're gonna watch it, it is only 25 minutes, so maybe go in expecting very little more than what they already told you is going to be there.
Yeah.
And then if there is something cool, you'll be surprised.
There you go. Fair enough. Keep yourself tempered, I guess, as they would say.
Yeah, and we might be getting a second big drop of information on July 1st, because that's also when the ransomware group that has hacked Katakawa, the parent company of FromSoftware, is threatening to release all of the information that they've hacked out of their systems. So
Wow.
they took 1.5 terabytes of data from Katakawa, who doesn't just make video games. I'm pretty sure they also do like gambling machines and a bunch of other stuff.
Yeah, they do. Yeah, they got, I
From
think,
what I was reading, it seemed
show
like
production and stuff like that, and all that type of
yeah,
stuff.
yeah. From what I was reading, it seemed like the area of their company that got hit the hardest was the area of the company that like operates. It was unclear to me if it was like a streaming service or just like a television broadcast service or something, but it's some kind of like video production something. But I think it's Japanese specific. Either way, the ransomware group is demanding some undisclosed amount of money, or they'll release all of the data, which will probably include video game stuff, but is seemingly largely employee data. So,
Man,
yeah.
There's been a lot of these data breaches going on with these companies lately, huh?
Oh, for sure.
Yeah, and they're saying what, like 1.5 terabytes worth of information that they're taking?
1.5 terabytes. It's a lot.
Sheesh.
It's a lot of data, especially since most of it is probably just like text documents. Like I doubt it's a lot of videos. So it's a lot of stuff.
It's a lot of stuff. You guys heard about this, Crusader and Kiryu?
I heard about it within the hour before we went live. Yeah, this is like new to me still.
Yeah.
I was reading that right before that we started.
Now, I'm wondering how much they're asking to be paid exactly. Was that even shared, or was it just...
I couldn't find it, so
Yeah.
I don't think so. I think Katakawa might be keeping that to themselves.
Okay.
But I guess we'll find out in less than a week whether or not they decided to, negotiate with terrorists or not. So that's Monday. For those of you keeping track, is July 1st.
There we go. We might find out about a new Souls game. You should be interested in this.
That's like the only. I'm already thinking about the bright side from this situation.
Yeah.
Like
There's
maybe
the
if I
silver
find
lining,
out
I
something,
guess.
it ain't that bad.
Right.
But
The one
like,
thing to
I
keep
hope
in
no
mind,
one there gets affected. But it would be cool to find out something happening. Yeah, not gonna lie.
Yeah. It is important to keep in mind, just for anybody listening, that the data, if they leak data of games that they're thinking about making, or like maybe are in early production, those things may never still see the light of day, because things happen, especially early on in game development, where it's like, oh, this isn't really working out, maybe we'll switch into something else. So if they are like, yeah, we're making Dark Souls 4, like, just know that there's a high probability that turns into something else by the time it comes out.
Oh, we're making the Bloodborne remake, the fabled Bloodborne remake.
Yeah, we're finally doing it. We're bringing it to the Switch.
I would cry, man. Come on.
It doesn't look like it is targeted, because they released a statement just a little bit ago, like a press release from Katakawa.
Yeah, what
it
did they
looks like
say?
it's mostly hitting their other stuff with manufacturing and distribution of like they don't mention games a single time. I don't think.
No, I mean, I'm sure it's included to some extent, but yeah, they do very much focus in on their other stuff.
Yeah.
Because I think that the big thing, like in the ransomware, is that like it has a ton of user data. Supposedly, it's like a 1.5 terabytes.
Yeah, 1.5. Yep. Yeah, well, we'll see what happens. Like Kiryu was saying, hopefully it's not affecting any personnel personally. But other than that, hey, have at it. If
It's not a good situation.
Yeah, if they're going to reveal some games, go ahead, do your thing. Hacking company.
Damn.
No.
In other news, probably the biggest thing to come out this week is there really wasn't a ton of like proper news this week or since the like not E3 season. But the biggest thing to come out, I believe, is Xbox Cloud gaming is coming to Fire Sticks. This has been officially announced. It seems like it's pretty straightforward. It's if you have access to cloud gaming, or cloud streaming on Game Pass, which is, I believe, only for Ultimate subscribers, then you download like an Xbox app onto the Fire Stick, and then you just Bluetooth a controller to it and play your games. It's very straightforward, very easy to do. I think it's a pretty good idea.
Now, let me ask you guys about that. I want to get you guys' takes. Crusader, what about, like, because I've seen conflicting thoughts, right? They're not conflicting, but I've seen thoughts on both sides of this when it comes to this. On one hand, I've seen people like, well, Xbox is shooting themselves in the foot about their hardware sales and stuff like that, which I don't know. Personally, I don't know if Xbox is really concerned about that as much. I don't think they're dumb. I think they know that if they're putting something like this out there where it's going to Amazon Fire Sticks, they know that's going to possibly cut into their hardware sales. But what do you think about that? Is this a positive for you, like knowing that it's going into the household of 50 million people maybe?
Oh yeah, this is fine.
Yeah.
I was upset it wasn't Roku personally. I have a Roku streaming device. I would have much preferred Roku, but this is fine. And I think one of the things that a lot of people forget is that these like the cloud streaming physically runs off of Xbox server blades, right? Like in order for a game to be on Xbox Cloud, it has to have a version that exists for like the Xbox console. So this doesn't this doesn't truly, in the same way, cannibalize the experience of someone who wants an Xbox console piece, because it's not preventing. It's not like putting your game somewhere else, like on another platform, and perhaps not getting stuff made for your own. If these companies want to be on Xbox's cloud gaming, and it actually does become that popular, they have to have versions on the Xbox console currently. So that's actually it's Game Pass Ultimate being available to more players in that way is actually kind of a huge win for console owners in a very indirect way. That being said, like I said, I would have much preferred Roku. And I think the one thing that is still really not there at this point is the fact that you can't play games that you own that aren't on Game Pass yet. That was like something that was committed like 2 years ago, right? That like if you owned games in your Xbox library, you'd be able to stream them in the cloud if you had Game Pass Ultimate, even if they weren't part of the subscription, right? So for example, you'd be able to play like Elden Ring in the cloud.
Right.
And Jez Corden literally just moments ago reported that he is fairly certain it's still happening this year, because it was earlier reported earlier in the year that it was targeting the summer. So that's kind of like the
right
one
here.
piece of this puzzle that's missing. And again, if that happens, then again, that's really good for people, because if people are using Game Pass Ultimate and they are playing games in the cloud, and perhaps they're even buying games on Xbox's store to play in the cloud, that's a big deal, like a really, really big deal. And that actually is very synergistic with the Xbox console experience, because maybe someone doesn't care if Xbox console players are going to want to have access to this in the cloud, but maybe that company wants the game to be accessible in the cloud. In order to do that, they have to release the console version, right?
Right.
And so that's kind of a win for the people who want the console versions, and it is really, really something that I thought that Xbox would have been pushing long and hard by now, is to have this actually available.
I wonder if some of this was hung up because of the court case, now that they've settled that, it seems.
Yes, and then the last thing is the quality of Xbox's cloud streaming, from the wait times to get into specific games to the actual quality of the streaming service compared to things like GeForce Now and stuff. It's just bad.
It's inconsistent.
Like, in comparison, like, it's not a horrible experience on its own,
Yeah.
but compared to the competition, it is not great. The bit rate is not great. The actual resolutions you get are not great. The amount of artifacts you get in comparison are not great.
Yeah.
So they really do need to work on the user experience of xCloud in general, not just on the new devices, because like we haven't seen it on the new devices yet. On all devices, it just needs to be improved. Like, there's no reason I should try to queue up for a game and see I have an 180-minute wait time. I've seen that before, and I just turn it off.
I wonder if it's based on your area and things like that, because I've seen people say that. I've never had that issue.
I mean, listen, I live like right north, like 2 hours north of DC. There's plenty of data centers near me. It cannot be that.
Okay, let's see.
Yeah,
well, I'm not sure what's going on.
It
I guess it's just
typically happens with new releases.
Right.
Or with smaller indie games, because I think they just don't queue as many of them up on the as many on
the server.
How do I put this? They don't have it accessible in a way good enough for like some smaller niche games or for giant brand new games. They just don't have enough. They don't have enough way to get enough users into the games in some regions.
Okay. Well, I'll say I've played through GeForce, and I've also used obviously xCloud, or whatever you want to call it now. Both experiences were fine to me. I didn't have any. There were some artifacting I did notice on the Xbox xCloud, depending on what you played. If it was a higher demanding game, like visually, I've seen that, but it hasn't been dramatic for me. Overall, it's been really positive, actually. So that's why I'm like, when I see people say it, clearly they're not lying, because there's a lot of other people that's saying it. But it's like, wow, I'm not having that experience. It's been all up for me.
Yeah. I haven't had a bad experience besides the queue times. I haven't had a bad experience with Xbox Cloud, but like I've also tried things like Stadia and I've also tried things like GeForce Now, and they are just strictly better experiences. I found PlayStations to be worse, but I only tried to play PS3 games. I did not try to play PS4 or 5 games.
I mean, Stadia's not better anymore.
No, Stadia is not better anymore. The
Yeah.
technology was.
Yeah.
The technology
she
undoubtedly
dead.
was. Their
She
business
gone.
model was not.
She
Their
gone.
business model was shite.
Yeah.
But like their actual solution for how the cloud streaming worked at the beginning was kind of bad, but like towards the end of its life cycle, it was actually kind of a shame that it went the way it did because they had a really solid cloud product.
Okay.
Like it worked really, really well.
Now, this one is going to be unique to you, Kiryu, and Danny. I do want to get your thoughts on it too, but
Yeah.
this is unique to you, Kiryu, because you had got a bit of notoriety and I don't want to say clout because I know that's not what you were aiming for, but you got a little bit of notoriety for famously posting your receipt when you sold back your Xbox. Yes, folks. If you all are in the chat, this is the famous, infamous, I guess in this case, Xbox receipt poster who posted his
I was
receipt.
not expecting nothing like that.
I bet you were. Yeah, I know. And see, he just posted it because, well, I'll let you tell your story, I guess. There's no need for me to explain it. So tell us a bit of why you decided to move away from Xbox consoles and into PC.
Okay, I'll try to. I know I'm very good at exaggerating things, making I'll try to keep it short. Basically,
Yeah.
I was on PC somewhere during last gen. I switched to PC because I was not enjoying either new console. I didn't like the new Xbox or the new PS4. I think I tried them both for the first 2 years, and then I was just done with them. And it was just like it was literally just the lack of games for the PS4, and the Series X looked awesome whenever they showed that, and whenever we saw both consoles, I was way more like leaning towards the Xboxes because like I saw the One X and I was like, that looks cool, but I'll wait just in case because I didn't have that beefy of a computer. And so whenever the new consoles are coming out, it was like everything from the pandemic and crypto was hitting off big. All of that made upgrading anything on my computer just way more like pricey. So I went for the Series X, and that's kind of leading to like why I sold it. I just don't think after I finally did get to upgrade my PC, by the way, I did that last year, and that's one of the big factors because I still liked the Series X more than the PS5, for sure. It's just all of the decisions they made. It kind of goes into this whole Fire Stick thing. Their goal isn't the console. Like that's not their priority. Is not the hardware. At least that's the vibe I get, and I think that's the huge direction they're going for. Their goal is to get Xbox on as much as they can that's not Xbox yet. Like they're not focusing on the hardware, and that's exactly why this Fire Stick thing is happening. I wouldn't be surprised if like Crusader was saying. I think the Roku would have definitely made more sense, but I wouldn't be surprised if eventually we see that.
I was going to say, I
And
wouldn't doubt it.
it ain't gonna stop here either. We'll see more devices. If it's not already, I wouldn't be surprised if we eventually hear that Xbox Game Pass is on like Apple TV and stuff like that. If them and Apple can get along on their, I know Apple likes to take a pretty big cut from the other companies. I guess that's why that whole Epic Games lawsuit happened. But yeah, this ain't the first, and it's not the last. We'll see Game Pass added to way more. But that's why I sold it. Yeah, it just I got the Series X because I thought this was it. I thought we were gonna get all this Halo stuff, and we were gonna keep going. And then there were all these delays, and then they started going, a few games, not a lot, but a few have gone to other platforms, and it's like, okay, if I have a PS5, I have a Nintendo Switch, I have my computer, I don't need the Series X. So it was mostly like to prevent myself from spending more money on games for the platform when it looks like I can just play them wherever I want, especially on my computer, because I finally upgraded my dinosaur like late October, or I'm sorry, September last year. Yeah, it's just kind of mostly for me, like stopping myself from buying more on a platform that I felt like I no longer needed. If I had to choose, like tell anyone that's new between a PS5 or an Xbox, I think I would still say an Xbox right now.
Mhm.
But with my computer, I'm good. Like I'm more than good.
And that's the thing that I wanted to get to clarify, because it's not like you just said F Xbox, I'm out. It was more
Yeah, no, that
yeah.
tweet blew up for other reasons. I don't understand because that was on websites and then people were
I
threatening to
saw
dox
it.
me. Some people were just being trolly
Really
with it,
nasty.
but
Yeah.
oh yeah, everything went way too far. That was a very interesting day.
Yeah.
Because I'm just sitting there at Denny's and I have like 500
Use the
notifications on
Denny's.
my Twitter. Yeah, I was at Denny's eating my lumberjack slam. That's what I get every time. And I go to check my phone, like, why is it vibrating so much? And I see
Mhm.
What is
500
a
plus.
lumberjack slam? Is that
It's
a-
pancakes.
is that a
It's
wrestling
toast.
finisher?
It's
The bushwhacker
bacon
biscuits.
sausage.
Right. No, that's interesting, man. Like, yeah, because a lot of people thought like, oh, you're doing this to try to get clout.
No,
You know.
actually, Morty in the chat. I was already gonna sell my Xbox. He just dared me. Hey, I dare you to tweet the receipt. I dare you. And I was like, okay, bet.
See,
And then
you gotta
it went
watch
from
out
there.
for him. You gotta watch out for that
Uh-huh.
fucker. He'll set you up.
It's a trap. He'll set you up.
It's a trap. Don't listen to him ever when it comes to things like that. Anything social media, I don't listen to him. He's like, yeah, okay. Yeah. He could tell me about some ARPGs or something, or I don't know, maybe some survival games. But you can't tell me about how to post on social media. I don't listen to him. But yeah, no, I get it, man, and that it makes sense. And I have my own reasonings. As I still have my Xbox, but I have my own reasonings why I also had got a high-end PC. But I've explained that before. It's just, for the best of the best performances wise when it comes to certain games. UE5 is a monster. So some of these games that they use to make it, with it rather, it's just not going to be capable of hitting what I want performance wise on consoles. But that's what the computer is for.
Some of that is to do with the fact that a lot of devs are just not really great at optimizing stuff.
Yeah.
Like I remember back in the day, they were like, "Yeah, but can your rig run Crysis?" And it was never that game like was particularly impressive or amazing. It was literally that the game ran so badly
Yeah.
that you had to have like this super powered rig for it to not melt.
Mm-hmm.
So
I have the water cooled 6080.
Yeah.
It's not even out yet. That's I got it.
I put the water in and it's still boiling my piss.
All right.
Uh,
What about you? What about you, Daddy? What's your feelings?
I
on
think
this?
it's a good idea. It's, this is the sort of thing where I really think it's like a gateway drug. It's a situation where I think people are going to get it on, they'll get it on their TVs or whatever for, I don't know if it's in a different room or whatever, so they don't necessarily have to buy a second console. I see this being a situation where people take this to like a hotel and slap it into the TV there so they can play when they're on the go and they don't have to like pack a whole other thing. Maybe it's like a stopgap for a handheld, which I still don't necessarily think that they should bother with because like there's so many other handhelds that they can just put Game Pass on and it'd be fine, but whatever. But yeah, I think it's generally speaking a good idea. It's one of those things where I think that this is a situation where it only leads to more people playing in the Xbox ecosystem. And I think it would actually also probably lead to more console sales. I think there's a situation where a lot of people probably get in and on the Fire Stick side of it and they're like, well, this is pretty good, but I don't like the queue times, or like, I bought these games now, and if they do the thing where you can play any game that you stream and it'll be like, oh, well, I bought these games now, but I don't really love that I paid for these games and I still have to have, Game Pass Ultimate to play them because you would still need that to do cloud gaming.
True.
So it's like, so maybe I should just buy a console and then you also get a Series S and you slap it in under there or something, right? Like I really do. I see that happening. And I think that this is really what they're going for, is they're just like, we want people into this ecosystem playing as much as they can, because a lot of their games are live service and things like that, where you're getting in and you're part of the subscription, you're buying all these microtransactions, you're doing all those things, and it like helps, raise the rest of the ecosystem, so to speak, So I think it makes a lot of sense. It's, it's meeting customers where they are.
I think I largely agree. I think you guys hit it on the head. It's largely, because Microsoft haven't been shy about saying, hey, we want to get Game Pass in every home, right? Like, this is clearly their goal. And what better way to do it than to, hey, you can get it on your Fire Stick. Hey, eventually probably in Netflix, some type of situation with that, right? Like, it's pretty obvious what they're doing, and I think at the bottom, for their bottom line, is going to help them a lot. I think the fear, at least from the people I've seen posting about it, is is this going to end up being a case where Microsoft eventually says, hey, we're going to abandon the hardware now and just go full third party? That's what I think a lot of the fear comes from people I've seen posted about it.
Yeah, I think that fear is largely foolhardy. Like it's a lot of jumping to conclusions, because it's never going to be a situation where like every single person prefers to do it that way, or even the majority of people prefer to play it through streaming, because streaming is objectively just like not as good as playing on local hardware, and it probably never will be, because there's always been this argument of like, oh, but the technology is getting so much better in cloud streaming. It's like, yeah, but like it would have to get better at such a faster rate than hardware is getting better for it to really catch up, and it's just not probably gonna be likely. And then there's all these use cases of like, and you have to have really good internet, and like, what if this happens and what if that happens? And it's like, yeah, so it's just like the reliability aspect of it alone is just, it's just local hardware is always going to have a use case, and I just don't see them ever not making it.
Yeah,
you know, maybe it gets moved to the side a little bit if it just like really goes one way, but I don't even see that happening. So
yeah, I agree with that. Also too, I hope like this is they go all out for the next console, like it's really high end tech wise. Like I don't expect it to hit the 30 whatever series type marks necessarily.
No, well, and there's not really any reason to do that, because so one of the things about PC gaming is that you can buy like these super high end rigs and like the top of the line things, and there are some games that'll take advantage of that, usually the ones that have partnered with those chip makers, but most of the time the games are still targeting like much lower. So there's not really any reason to make a like discrete piece of hardware that is the absolute top of the line best thing in the world, because it's not going to take advantage of it for probably multiple years, and then at that point it's like, oh, but this thing, like, we want to sell you another thing now. So I really think what's going to happen with the Xboxes going forward is I think they're going to take almost like a mobile aspect, where we're going to see shorter generations and like new hardware more often, not probably as often as we see new chipsets or whatever in the PC space, and almost certainly not as often as we see cell phones, because that's literally every year. But I really do. I think that they're going to start just doing, here's the Series X2 and the Series S2, and here's, and just keep going along that line for the foreseeable.
I kind of floated that idea as to Kay Asante, actually. Shout out to Kay. I was talking to him one time, and I said, what if they do like, and I don't want to say iterative, but like a different SKU tier for each, for the next console, right? Where you have the base standard edition, then you have the higher end, version that is like more powerful. Like if we're thinking GPU wise, let's say the next one is a 3040, I don't know, let's say a 3060. And I'm reaching out there, by the way, so I don't want anybody, oh, you idiot, there's no such thing. But like, and the next tier up is a 3080, and you know what I mean? Like, if I wonder if they would do something in that, tier wise for the next one. Maybe that could be something they could get into.
It's definitely possible. I don't necessarily think that they need to emulate the PC marketplace too much, though, because as we found out in this next news story, is apparently more and more Steam players are just wanting to play an Xbox really anyway, because a lot of them are playing with controllers on Steam, and apparently about 60% of those who are using controllers are using an Xbox controller anyway. So they're just
it's the best. It's the best controller in the game.
They're just doing everything in their power to make their PC more like the superior Xbox, because it just like works better. So I don't know. I guess that
Listen, that controller is top notch, man. It is what it is. Like,
it definitely beats the Steam controller they tried to put out a little while ago. I don't know if y'all remember that creaky.
Oh my
POS.
god, I own one still. I own one.
You own it? Nice.
I own it.
Yeah.
That thing is there was one game I found that could play it, and that was Portal 2, and that was it. Every other game, it just felt unnatural. Like nothing. I don't understand how people made it work for them, because apparently some did. I don't get it.
I never owned one, but a friend of mine had one, and he was like, just hold this for a second, and it was like picking up just a hunk of goo. Like, it was immediately like, ugh. It felt cheap, it felt thin, it felt like I could snap that controller in half on accident.
Weak feeling.
Yeah. It didn't have the premium field. Speaking of that, they have some new Steam controllers I saw posted the other day in some chat. I saw that they're coming out with. It looks roughly like an Xbox controller, because
they understand.
Yeah, exactly.
I mean, they're probably looking at their metrics and seeing that 60% of the people who use controllers on Steam are using an Xbox type controller, and they're like, okay, well, we should probably do things that the majority, not a ton, a huge majority, but the majority of our users are preferring, we should probably go in that direction if we want people to switch over to it.
I think so.
That makes sense.
And then you look at other controller people who make controllers, like you look at the Nintendo Pro controller, you look at you know, even Stadia's, like a lot of their obvious or 8-bit what is it, 8-bit
dough.
No, yeah. Like they clearly use the Xbox controller as the blueprint. So
yeah.
But
that's a good ass controller.
It is a good ass controller.
So
what else did we have?
Speaking of things on Steam, Forza Horizon 4, I should say, is currently, I think, still the best-selling game on Steam, even beating Elden Ring, despite the DLC having just come out. Now, this is largely for a couple of reasons. Number one, it's currently 80% off, which is a real good deal, and it is being delisted on December 15th. So a lot of people are sort of getting in on that FOMO situation of like, oh, I want to own this game, I want to buy this game. There's a couple of things. Apparently, this surge in people buying it and playing it has led to 52,000 concurrent players on Steam, which is a pretty good number for a game that's, 6 or 7 years old now. Especially since its sequel has already been out for a while. And it being delisted is crappy. Like, I've always thought that sucks with these games. They do it because of the car licensing, apparently. But one nice thing of note is that if you've played it through Game Pass and purchased DLC, they're going to respect that purchase, and you will be sent a key to download the whole game as whenever you want after it's been delisted. So you won't lose access to the DLC that you've purchased, basically.
That's good. Yeah, that's cool.
So if you bought like the Lego expansion, I guess.
I'm contemplating getting it, but I'm like, because I still have yet to try out any of the Forzas on the new PC to see how it looks, just to see comparatively. And I'm like, should I buy that? I'm like,
You may as well. It's 80% off. What's that going to be? Like $5? I didn't actually look up the price, but it's cheap.
It is $11.99 for the base edition and $20 for the Ultimate Edition, which does not include all the DLC.
Oh.
Huh. Well, it's still pretty cheap.
And you can no longer buy the rest of the DLC.
Yeah, on Steam, you can't buy the rest of the DLC. You can still on Xbox, but it's also not 80% off on Xbox yet.
So pick your poison.
They might do that later.
Yeah.
But
okay.
Yeah, I don't know. This is one of those things that's always irritated me about the digital mindset that we live in, is that all of these licenses and things mean that they can just
away.
Thanos snap away these games whenever they want.
Now reality can be anything I want. Right.
Yeah, like it's kind of a bummer.
Yeah.
So
that is true. I mean, I look at it also like I'm saying that, but I'm like, I have Game Pass. I can just load the thing up.
True. It didn't say specifically in any of the things that I was reading that it would be pulled from Game Pass, but I'm pretty sure it is. Yeah, because they can't sell it anymore.
It's being pulled from Game Pass.
It didn't say
it cannot be distributed anymore.
Yeah, so it's not.
Oh wow.
Yeah.
So they're taking it out of Game Pass itself.
That's how it happened with every Forza.
Because the whole thing is, with the licensure, like that's why you're still allowed to download it if you own it and all that. Is like if you've already purchased it, like you own it, that's fine, you got that. But they don't own the right to the like cars or I think it's the cars, but sometimes it's music and games too. So the licensure for that went up, and so they can no longer sell the product that has that in that because they don't own it anymore. So in any format where they can continue to make money off of this thing, they're not allowed to do that.
It's not so much that the price for licensing went up. It's that they have to license all of the cars from the different brands individually. Like they can probably do like all of Hondas and Toyotas and Lamborghini, and like they can do the individual brands all together in a deal, but they have to do a license deal with each of the different car companies.
Right.
And when those licenses expire, because they are not, they license them for like 5-10 years.
Yeah.
When they expire, they either choose to relicense them or not. With most racing games, most companies elect not to. The only one that historically did for the longest time was Codemasters with their games. And as soon as EA bought them, they no longer relicensed them.
Also,
that's why like most of Codemasters games got pulled after EA purchased them.
I see. Also, too, isn't it a case like some manufacturers, I think, either are notoriously hard to work with as far as not wanting to allow it, or they ask for like exorbitant prices? I think like
probably
Porsche had an issue with that at a point.
Yeah, I mean that wouldn't shock me.
Yeah.
I went to the
shocked
Ferrari
that they don't
museum
license
and
it on a like franchise by franchise basis and
Yeah.
just amend the franchise. That seems like the pseudo solution to this kind of stuff.
Yeah, or even do
But,
it like game by game. Be like, we want to make this product and then sell it for however long. Like,
yeah,
for however long people buy it, we want to be able to put this thing in there. Like, that's always been weird to me. The situation of it's like we want to make a product that has this thing in it, but then you have to put this time limit on it of how long you can sell that product for. Like, licensure
Yep.
to me should be, we want to put it in this product. End of story. Right.
Yes,
and then you just pay maybe a higher amount of money, but like that to me makes more sense. This has always confused me in terms of like, why would you do it this way?
This has gotten better in a lot of games that have been released post like digital era. At the beginning, it was really rough.
Yeah.
But from what I understand, a lot of games are licensed now with that kind of like eternal mindset.
Yeah, where either they have it forever, or I've seen also more recently that it'll be like more the case when it's music. They'll be like, oh, okay, we don't have that license anymore, so that music's just not in the game anymore. Yeah. We'll just
GTA
push
does
through
that
an
all the
update.
time.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
I was saying the only problem I have with this, because like people know me as the backwards compatibility and like pseudo preservation and digital kind of guy. They gave plenty of warning for everything but the DLCs, right? On Steam, they just straight up pulled the DLCs, and some of them aren't included in the Ultimate Edition. And that's a problem to me. Like, a huge problem. That they pulled the DLCs before people could have an ample chance to buy them. And some people will be like, well, maybe those licenses expired sooner. And I'm just kind of like, cool, why didn't they announce this a month ago?
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
There's a Twitter channel that I scroll, or whatever account, that I don't think I follow them, but I'll like see them posting every so often, and it's just like, hey, this game got delisted, and it's all these like little games that no one would think about, but they're just gone. And with no
they're gone
warning.
forever.
And it's like, oh, sick, cool, I love this.
And you know, people know me as like the backwards compatibility guy. If you haven't seen me posting about backwards compatibility on Twitter and you follow me, I don't know. I couldn't explain Elon's algorithm to you.
They tuned out.
But,
maybe.
But like, you know, I post about it all the time. That's because I find games all the time that I'm really interested in, and then I see the price is like $300 online to get a physical copy of it. Yeah. And so that's why I'm a big proponent of digital availability of games, because it balances out the price of physical. Like physical, it'll keep physical prices lower. But like physical also needs to exist, because then you have the problem where, you know, a game that's digital only gets delisted, it's gone forever. Like if Hellblade 2 gets delisted at some point in the future, it's gone forever, right? That's just the example that comes to my head. Before they announced Alan Wake going everywhere, we could have said Alan Wake, and Alan Wake has a ton of licensed music in it, right? But Alan Wake 2, before they announced that physical edition, would have been gone forever if it ever got delisted. That's messed up, right? And that's like the whole thing with like Forza Horizon 4 is the only way that someone, you know, 10, 15 years from now could try to experience, like, if they were trying to go through like the history of racing games and trying to experience the games, the only way they'd be able to get Forza Horizon 4 is a physical copy. And they would not be able to get any of the add-on content for it. And I find that to be incredibly sad.
That sucks a bit.
That sucks a lot. And like Forza's an interesting one, because people will be like, oh, they can just play the newest one. I'll be like, yeah, but like, you can't go through the history and culture of the stuff. But like, Forza's just the example of the day. Spec Ops: The Line is probably a better example of this overall, because Spec Ops: The Line just got delisted from every platform.
I'm so glad I got it now. I have to.
Yeah, it got delisted from every platform, and like that is like a cool, just a cool game.
Military
cool
shooter.
Yeah, right. And
slash psychological. Yeah.
Right, and like that's a big cultural moment in games, because I'm pretty sure that's like where the whole like white phosphorus war crime kind of thing that comes up in gaming conversations. Like that is a moment in gaming history, whether or not you portray to the whole like depictions of war crimes in games and like is that ethical or not. That was like a whole conversation at the time, and that's like a kind of a cornerstone piece of gaming culture in a way. And it's just kind of not available, and the physical editions are like $100 now.
Wow.
But when it was on digital stores, the physical editions were $20, because they were selling the digital copy for $20 in the stores, right? Like they could balance the price, and like I just look at this stuff and it makes me sad. It makes me really sad.
Yeah. Well, that goes to the talk of games preservation and everything else of that nature too. I mean, it is good. Like I think people have to keep an eye out. Like when they talk about, hey, these games are going to be delisted and things like that. Hey, snatch yourself up a copy. Just
that's why I've been
100%.
Yep.
I've been buying so much on the Xbox 360 store.
Oh,
So
speaking
much.
of that, I need to get to that. I'm glad you mentioned that. I forgot about that. Yeah, if you all didn't know about that, they're going to be delisting all of those games, or at least closing down the Xbox 360 store, should I say? What is that? July
20 something, I think.
Okay.
I think it's like 27th.
Roughly a month. Yeah, roughly a month.
And a huge number of those games have not been made backwards compatible.
Right.
Yeah.
So.
I was about to say that. Yeah, there's a lot of games on that sell that are not gonna be able to boot on the Series X or S.
And one thing that
that's
should
all
be
you have.
noted
It's
is
pointless.
one thing that should be noted is if the games have been relisted on the modern Xbox store, even if they're a 360 game or an OG Xbox game or whatever, they're fine. They're not going to leave the modern store.
Yeah.
It
It's
is
just the
only
360 store.
it's only if they're on the 360. And there are a handful of games that are backwards compatible that were not listed on the new store for whatever reason.
That's true.
The biggest I know there's like a Prince of Persia, and there is Spelunky.
And a lot of those are the ones where you have to have the disc for it too. Like you can't have even have bought it digitally. So things like Batman Arkham Origins, that is backwards compatible, but you have to put the disc in.
Yep.
I see. Okay. Well,
that's a good example of a game where you can't buy the DLC anymore. By the way.
Yeah,
Right.
Like
it's
you
gone.
cannot play the expansions for. I'm stuck in that problem. I have a copy of Arkham Origins, but I can't play the DLCs for it.
I don't even remember what the DLC was,
man, that
but
sucks.
yeah, I don't know how you would get it at this point. So
You can't get them anywhere, like for any platform.
yeah, that sounds about
I
right.
knew about the game needing the disc and all that. I did not know the DLCs were just gone.
Yeah.
Yeah, this is
Man,
the double-edged sword of the digital future.
what
you don't have to
happened
stand
with
up,
that
but,
one? Because the other Batman games are fine.
It is an internal, from what we understand, it's an internal dispute at Warner Brothers because whatchamacallit, the studio that made the Batman games did not like that this Batman
Rocksteady.
game, because this was not a Rocksteady. It was
yeah,
in the
this one was
Rocksteady
WB
universe.
Yeah.
But it was not made by Rocksteady.
Montreal, then, yeah, the ones. Who made
Yeah,
Origin.
and I think there's like an internal, like a whole internal hubbub. It's like why it's never been remastered with any of the collections either.
yeah.
That's dumb, by the way. It's one of the better ones.
Well, and there's a lot of
funny enough.
people.
Yeah.
There's a lot of people who are like, "Oh, well, like that's the worst one. Why would we bother?" And it's like, I do think maybe I don't know if it's the worst one,
don't
but
think
also
it
it's like
is.
even if
It's
it is
not
the
a
worst
bad
one,
game.
it's still a good game.
It's
Yeah,
a very good.
like
Yeah.
like none of them were bad.
I think they
but an
handled the
important
boss
thing-
fights better than they did in
July 29th.
Rocksteady
Some of them.
games. Yeah.
Yeah.
July 29th is when the
July 29th. That's the
yeah.
deadline. Okay.
An important other thing to bring into this conversation for just the game preservation side of thing is apparently, according to Jeff Grubb, Sony might also be working on PS3 backwards compatibility to some extent. He said
Yeah,
on Game Mess Morning, he said he doesn't basically have any details about it at all. He's just like, I heard that they're maybe thinking about doing an emulator and that they've been thinking about that for a long time. So he's
he
like
was-
really non-committal
Man.
about it.
He was
in a way that
he was attempting to corroborate what Nick said on
his
Xbox
show.
Era.
You know,
Yeah.
you know what's interesting about that whole thing? It was a big blow up. I don't know if you guys saw that, but it was a big blow up where Hip Hop Gamer. I'm not sure if you guys know him, but
Yeah, I know. I know.
yeah.
he, by the way, shout out to him. He actually had an interview and everything with Denzel Washington. I'm like, wow.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right, dude.
I was legitimately blown away by that. So shout out to him. But he kind of got, I guess, I don't want to say boisterous, but he was kind of like, hey, yo, give me my credit. I talked about this years ago, et cetera, to Tom Henderson. And Tom Henderson kind of clapped back at him. Yeah, he kind of clapped back at him and was like, you know, you just throw anything to the wall and hopefully some things stick. And he said that claim you had was what he say, faker than your gold chains or something like that. I'm like,
Yeah, it's
damn.
Yeah,
very
like,
personal.
It was out
I
of
guess.
pocket, but Hip Hop Gamer is also kind of out of pocket for wanting credit because he said it like his claims that there's a PS3 emulator in development were from before the Xbox Series and PS5 were released.
Oh, he said this years ago.
Yes.
Yeah.
No,
Yeah,
It
this
was,
is like
it
years
was
ago.
legit years ago.
Oh,
So
okay.
even if it's right, he was not necessarily right. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
It makes
Like
sense.
it
he
could not
just said
have
a
been in
thing.
development at that time. It is too
Yeah.
far.
Well, and that's also kind of how I feel about the situation here, where it's like Special Nick was saying that it was a thing, but he was pretty loose about it.
Yeah.
And Jeff Grubb was saying that it's a thing, but he's pretty loose about it. It seems like nobody has like solid details on
No.
whether or not they're still working on it, but just that they were like thinking about it at one point.
Yeah.
So I wouldn't hold my breath on this, but it'd be really nice because there's a lot of PS3 games because of that like cell architecture or whatever, I guess, that just never got put anywhere. Like
Metal Gear
4,
Solid 4.
I
Exactly.
don't think it's
massive
playable
list of them.
anywhere.
That's the
There's
prime
10
one.
Ratchet and Clank games that are not on modern hardware.
And it's only,
Yeah,
There's
like,
it's
there's
only
like
17
5 God of
them.
Wars.
It's 17 Ratchet and Clank, so 10 of them are just inaccessible.
I'm genuinely I'm more shocked that they haven't done a better job of moving forward the PS2 library, because that's one of the best libraries that has ever existed, and they've done
Agreed.
dig all with it.
Well, so like all of it was
Agreed.
on the PS3, right? Like
Mhm.
all of the
Yeah.
Sly Coopers were moved to the PS3. The first Killzone and the first Resistance were put on PS3. All of the Ratchet and Clanks were put on PS3,
Yeah.
except for like the PSP
PSP ones, yeah.
ones.
Yeah, God of War 1 and 2 got moved to PS3.
Yeah, God of
Well,
War 1 and
the
2 were on PS3.
PS3
The PSP God of Wars were on PS3.
Yeah. Well, the
Oh,
PS3 was
oh,
originally
okay.
backwards compatible with PS2, and then they decided it was too expensive at a point and stopped making
It
like
was-
they literally stopped putting those pieces into the PS3.
Yeah, it was so. What it was they had a shared disc reader between a PS2 that was in the. It was an actual PS2 board in the PS3 that it would like sideload to, and because I have one of those PS3s.
Yeah, they're tough to find now.
They are.
Is it the
hold
original
on to 'em.
kind of like George
But-
Foreman grill looking one?
Yes.
Yeah.
What's really
Yeah,
interesting
yes.
about that PS3 is it could only play PS2 games that were DVDs.
Yes.
Not all PS2 games were DVDs.
Right. Some were.
If they were colored blue, they were CDs. They were CD-ROMs.
That,
not
yeah,
DVDs.
exactly. I remember some of those. Those were notoriously buggy at times, where they would.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and that's where some people are like, why isn't the PS5 backwards compatible the whole way to the PS1? And I'm
I
like,
think it's the
well,
sales
it would
structure and
would
all that,
actually
right?
need a special laser to read CD
Yes.
discs.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
so like it's not going to go the whole way back, but it theoretically could read any DVD PS2 disc onward.
I mean, but
Yeah,
you know,
but-
that goes to the emulators though, right? Because
Yeah.
they could just say, "Hey, here's the digital game." So I'm guessing it's a
Right.
big investment, obviously.
That's what I'm saying. And they haven't even gone through the process of doing that for their own games yet.
Yeah.
Like
Right.
they haven't even done it for their own first party or things that
true.
they've purchased since.
Right.
So
Because
it's
like
like,
that's the only reason my PS3 is hooked up is because there is so many games
yeah,
I
literally still
cannot
have my
play
PS2,
anywhere else.
and I'm not gonna
They
get rid
like
of it. Probably ever.
engineered themselves into a corner.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep.
They're like, this will be a great idea,
Well,
and then it wasn't.
IBM thought it was going to take off and replace modern CPUs, and it probably could have if it had had good documentation and like an actual good API level in between the hardware and the software. But it
For
was
sure.
a nightmare to program for
Yeah.
because there was no like you had the almost no machine code to develop for it, like the very very complex stuff. It just makes me so sad because there's so many games I love
It
that
is.
are stuff.
You know what though? This is why I said Crusader. I'm not trying to. Let me not go too far, but PC is the way, my brother. I know the way.
Yes, sir.
And
Yes, sir.
If you want to get
I
those
mean,
games,
still,
and
I, like a lot of
Just
games
saying.
don't work with RPCS3.
oh, yeah, that's
like,
true. That is
They'll
true.
boot on it, but they do not play well. on it.
Yeah, some of them are problematic. That is true.
Especially a lot of the early ones, which are a lot of the ones that I like.
Not even the early ones. Like Fallout 3, you have to go in and change a game file to get it working on Steam because
Oh God.
of just
Yeah.
like BS.
Wow.
I just played Fallout 3 on a GOG. If you get it on there, because whenever you buy the game on there, it already works.
It
And if
just
you
works.
some games that you own, well, yeah, I mean, some of the games that you can get on Steam, if you can get them on GOG too, they might do their own tweaking, just so like when the game launches, you're already good. Even if it's literally adding a mod to the game, like a fixed mod that just fixes an error, they just put it in the game whenever they sell it.
Nice. What else? What else do we have in the news, Danny?
Well, speaking of things not getting supported, Sony is apparently basically dropping all support for PSVR2, which shocker, dude.
Oh, damn, that was.
Evidently, it seems like there's only like 2 PSVR2 titles still in development.
Wow.
They put out that
First
PC
party.
adapter so that first party, but like,
Yeah, no, I
with
agree.
with
but-
Sony, it's like questionable whether or not it's actually first party because they call their second party first party too, and they're like
They
it's
do.
part of the family, and it's like.
Yeah.
That was
Plus, they just
quick.
they closed like all of their VR studios, so this is not news really, but it's just this is now being reported as like, hey, PSVR2, like, don't expect a 3. Like, it's not happening. Also, this is pretty much dead.
To me, I thought it was like, yeah, the writing was on the wall. Like you said, we had already
100%.
heard about this, right? And then it's a niche device. For me, like I said, I've said it many times. I'd have to have something of the level of a Ready Player One type thing before I get invested into doing something like this. It's just not for everybody. And I think
No, the technology is just not there.
Yeah. Yeah, and I don't want to walk over, like you said, I don't want to have this thing all over my head and pace and trying to play and move around. I don't know. Like my nephew has the Meta Quest 3. And my sister got him. And that boy is playing that game and you hear him screaming and yelling and swinging all around. I'm like, I'm not doing that. I'm sorry.
Absolutely not.
Yeah, I refuse. I just, even when I was his age, I wasn't doing it. So it's like, I can't do it now. I just refuse personally.
Yeah.
To each their own. It's just
well, and it's also that thing where, like, because I've had people who try and defend VR to me, and I'll be like, okay, but like, so what are the games that you recommend that I would play on it? And they're still recommending like Beat Saber because so few other worthwhile VR titles have come out. It's like, okay, Beat Saber, and then, well, you could play Half-Life Alyx, but it's only over here, and then like, or you could play this other games like Ashura's Legend or something, but it's only over there, and it's like, okay, so I have to own 3 VR titles to have, there are 3 VR headsets to have the only 3 VR titles that you think are worth playing.
worth playing, right?
Like, no, I'm good, dude. I'm really good, actually.
Yeah,
I'm pretty sure
silly.
you just mixed up Azura's Wrath and Asgard's Wrath.
Asgard's Wrath. I don't know. People were like, "Oh my god, this is the future of VR RPGs," and then I watched like 2 seconds of gameplay of it and was like, "No, the fuck, it's not."
Right.
You're out of your mind, dude.
Right. Yeah, not for me. We can go past this one. I like we said, it was writing.
Yeah.
Writing was on the wall, so I'm not shocked or surprised. I mean, I feel bad for those who put because it costs more to get the PSVR 2 more than it did to get the PlayStation 5. Like I still don't understand why people how people convince themselves to say, yeah, I want that thing. I still don't get it. But hey, to each their own. You know, sorry.
You know, if they bought that, I don't feel bad.
All right, you brought this on yourself. But yeah, what else did we have, Daddy?
So, just another story of things we thought were going to be a good idea, not really being good ideas. So remember how before we were talking about how they were porting like Resident Evil 4 and some other really big AAA games to mobile devices?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that didn't work out. It turns out not enough people were buying them, and it's just like, it seems like it's been a completely lost venture. People are reporting on it that it's, I don't have the exact numbers here because it was a huge text block, but it was basically just like, we thought that this would be good because it's the easiest way, because everyone's got a phone, right? And then no one really bought it, so it's just not worth the effort to port it.
It's somewhere between 3,000 and 15,000 per title, based on estimates, and even the high estimates are like the people who are reporting the high estimates are like, this is still really bad, even if we are exceptionally high. Like even if we're right with our higher estimates, this is still awful.
So, it turns out maybe people don't want to play Resident Evil 4 in the classroom or whatever. I don't know.
Yeah.
Or maybe they just didn't do a good enough job advertising that it existed. You know, that's also a possibility. Because I heard about it like once and then we didn't talk about it again ever. Like I never saw it anywhere.
So you have to have a controller to go with the phone. Or you're playing a really awful version of the game with touch controls that take up half your screen and you can't see what you're doing. Or you're playing on a screen that is like 3/4 of the size of something like a Steam Deck or a Switch. Like like I have a big phone. I have a Samsung S24 Plus.
Yes,
I have the Note one, the one that has like the stylus and everything, right? So I have a really big cell phone.
Mm-hmm.
And my Switch screen is still probably it's something like 20% or 25% larger.
Yeah, it's not that much. It's not dramatically bigger.
But it's big. It's bigger enough to like matter. You know what I mean? Because like when you get the smaller you go, the more and more the smallness matters. You know what I mean? Like every inch.
That's
starts
what she
to
said.
Matter. Yeah, right. But so like.
I'm sorry.
So,
it was right there.
like,
I had to do it.
A handheld Switch works really well. Yeah. Even though the screen is not a ton larger, but it's larger enough to notice.
Yeah.
And it has controllers to itself.
Mm-hmm.
Right? so you don't have to worry about no taking up all the screen with your hands. And like that's why like the handhelds work. That's why like the Steam Deck works.
Why the ROG
It
works.
it doesn't work on a phone.
Yeah.
Because unless you get those peripherals. But like the average person ain't gonna go out and buy no peripherals and stick them on their phone like that.
That's true. I
Like-
did. You're right, but the average casual is probably not going to do that.
Right. It's like asking people to put on a VR headset.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
The,
that's a fair
the
point.
people who really like VR
I
will
mean,
do that. I won't.
way less overhead to do it, of course. But yeah, you're right.
Right.
It's just something out of their wheelhouse. They don't really probably want to venture into doing that. But hey, it is what it is on that. I tried doing it that way before with the touchscreen, and like you, I have a Galaxy. I have the 23, yeah, or 22, one of the two.
Galaxy Gang.
Yeah, Galaxy
like,
Gang, and I like you said, it's a beautiful phone, but I don't want to have like play on this right here like that. I don't want to do that.
They tried with the wrong games too.
Mm-hmm.
You know, like Call of Duty natively on an iPhone might do kind of well because it's a very casual-driven game.
Mm-hmm.
What casual is gonna go out and buy Resident Evil 8 for their phone?
None that I could think of.
Like,
Only the hardcore would probably do that.
Only the hardcore would do it, but the hardcore probably have a better device to play it
that's
on.
True.
And they can just stream it to their phone.
Yeah, that's true.
Like through a screen share, or like the PlayStation or Xbox
yeah.
screen share app.
Exactly.
Like,
so true. Yeah.
I was gonna ask, have y'all used the? If we talked about it, Umbra, I really don't remember, but have y'all tried those backbone controllers or anything like that?
We didn't talk about it much, but I mean, we did mention the peripherals. But I have the Razer Kishi, for instance, that I've used.
Okay, you have that one.
Yeah, that one.
What do you think about that one?
It works pretty good. It's pretty reliable. It's I guess it's phone dependent, because if you have a big enough phone, it won't hit as well. I noticed. But for instance, I tried it with the Note when I had a Note, and the Note was like too big for it. It was just like, nah. The Note was the black man of phones for the Razer Kishi, if that makes sense. No, I'm sorry.
Those were the best phones.
The size
I have
matters.
one of those ones that you like clip to your controller and clip to your phone, so you're holding your controller.
See,
had
I
that
don't
too.
like those.
I don't like those either, but I had that as well.
I like the backbone controller though.
Mhm.
I
I
like
didn't-
that one.
I didn't mind it with my old phone, but my new phone is like way heavier.
Yeah,
and,
'cause
like,
they're
it actually
premium
hurts
feeling,
to hold
right?
the controller.
Yeah, exactly. And I tried that with the Galaxy, and the Galaxy has heft to it, and trying to play that with that, it just feels terrible.
My S20 was fine. My
Mhm.
24 is not. My
Yeah.
24 is a way denser device. It's way heavier.
Yeah, is it metal? The 24?
Yeah.
That's why. Yeah. It's got that beautiful premium feel. Like you can't beat the feel of that in the iPhone. Those both phones feel so good to hold. I don't know how else to put it. I think the Galaxy outdoes it though, personally, comparatively. But yeah, that said, let's move to the next one, Danny. Oh, did Danny step away? He may have. Let's see.
Yeah,
He did. Okay. Oh, he had to step away. Sorry, guys, in the chat. So we'll move to this discussion. I don't know if you guys had seen it, but the Superman, the new Superman movie with I forgot this guy's name, but he has a hilarious name. Who's playing Clark? Let me look him up really quick. New Superman actor.
Oh, you talking about David Cornsweet?
David Cornsweet, one of the worst names in history.
I did not know that was his last name.
Yep.
One of the worst names in history. I would have changed that if I was him. Just, David Coren would have been fine. Coren. He kept the Coren Sweat. It sounds like corn sweat, and it sounds terrible.
Where's he from? Iowa?
Yeah,
Where's he
right,
from?
right. He come from the Idaho fields.
Shit.
It just sounds terrible to me. But let me transition to this. So they've had leaks, I guess. I'm gonna call it leaks, but people have been taking photos of him in the new Superman outfit. What do you guys think? If you can see it on your phones, if you pull up the show, you could be able to see it. Chat, what do you guys think about this? That's Lois Lane, of course, over to the left.
I like that there's no the fake muscle abs that they have been doing.
Yeah.
But that's the only pro I have. Everything else about this, I really don't like it, actually. Well,
know,
I mean, I don't
he's a
know.
big
That's
guy.
actually, I haven't seen that picture before. That's a better angle than the one I saw.
I have more to show. So the good thing about, I will point out with David Cornsweet, is that he's a he got really fit for the role. Danny, I
He did.
remember you pointing out.
He
for
is
me.
swole. My boy got big.
He got big.
If anyone saw him in Hollywood, it's a not the location, but it was a Netflix miniseries. It's really really good. He was already like fit, but there's some before and after pictures of him like at the gym. My boy got big.
Yeah, he did. And like certain images, I think highlight the suit better than others,
For sure.
where you can see the color and such. Like that looks pretty good right there to me.
Yeah.
I think,
Yeah, I like the colors of that picture. Now they
Yeah.
look better than what I saw before.
I think
Yeah,
maybe the
I mean-
S could be a bit bigger, but what do you
There
think,
are a
Ben?
couple of things to keep in mind. Obviously, is
Yeah.
like these are not official photos. These are things taken from like some guy.
True.
Like obviously, there's going to be a bunch of little touch ups on it when they actually put it on film. All that yada yada.
Mhm.
For me, I think this is probably my favorite suit of Superman because, and here's the thing, it's not like one to one the most faithful thing to like his original appearances. This is clearly more towards the New 52, which was not a great comic book run, but a good suit, I think.
Yeah.
And it's a situation where I think Superman's traditional suit, is a difficult thing to put in live action and have it not look stupid, because at the end of the day, it's a leotard.
Yeah.
Like it's a leotard with some boxer briefs on the outside. Like
Yeah.
that's what it is.
True.
And so you have to add a little bit to it for it to not be like this is a man running around in literally his pajamas,
Yeah,
right?
True.
Like even look at the Spider-Man suits, right? They always have to add like texture to it and do all this stuff to make it look good.
True.
This to me, I think, is maybe not the perfect version of it, but certainly a very good version of it. I like that it's got the briefs. I think that keeps it,
classic.
feeling classic while modernizing it in a way that's very good. The lines that are on it they're not terrible. They're not my favorite thing in the world. I don't necessarily think we need them, but I also noticed that pretty much all superhero live action suits have things like that. So there must be a reason for it. It must be like it breaks up the shape or it helps with editing, or I don't know. There's got to be
I think
something.
it breaks
to
up the shape is exactly it.
The MCUification, unification of the
So there's
outfits.
got to be some point to it. The thing that I love the most about this is, and it's always been a gripe of mine for other Superman suits, is I love the collar and the cape. I really do, because I know that it's not the traditional look, but the traditional look has always looked really stupid to me. Like the traditional look has been this like loose fitting kind of low cut collar with the blanket looking cape like tucked in, and so what it ends up looking like is a child cosplaying as Superman, where they have like a Goodwill reused Superman t-shirt with a red blanket tucked into it, and it's never looked good to me. This to me makes it look like it is a discrete, like a uniform. Like this is something that he has put together for purpose of being Superman, as opposed to, admittedly, what it is in the original comics. It hasn't been in a long time, but in the original comics, it was that like Ma and Pa Kent sewed it out of things that they took from the spaceship that he crashed in, and like that's very interesting. That's a fun thing to do. I think this suit looks better than that.
I'll say this: I love the cape, and I just put
The
up a
cape's
new.
great.
It looks really
The
solid.
S on the back is very good.
It looks really good, especially this image here. I don't know if this was touched up by someone to like really put the contrast up, but I love the red in the cape and everything. The red is right. I will say the S, it could be bigger in the front of the chest S, if you will. To me, it looks a little small comparatively.
Yeah.
I do like the classic S that they use for like Kingdom Come Superman, basically is what he has right here, which looks really good. I do like that, but it does look plasticky if you see it in other images. So I'm sure they're gonna make it look great in post. So that's kind of
for
whatever.
sure.
I do love that they put the boxer briefs back on. As corny as it is, I do agree, because modern tastes is like, what do you got these drawers on and the outside, boy? But it does look, it's classic, so it just draws me back to that classic Superman I knew and loved. You know what I mean? Like you said, the designs, I feel like they're kind of over designed with the lines,
A little bit.
just a bit. But we have to see how it looks in live action. It might look fine in live action, to be fair. So I'm not going to really rail on that too much. I think overall, this is one of the better looking live action Superman suit. And I'll say this, as terrible as his name is, David Cornsweet actually does, he actually does look like Clark I'll
Do
give him
you have a picture of him as Clark?
Act-
Because that leaked out too.
Let me find
Yeah,
it.
it's
I did.
actually-
Oh, I
fantastic.
did not see that.
Yeah, so this all got leaked out, by the way. And for anyone watching, don't worry. There was a lot of stuff that came out that was like spoilers. We're not going to get into that. Where like there were very clearly the city of Cleveland kind of doxed this movie a little bit because they're the ones who
Oh, wow.
posted most of these pictures. Where they're like, guess what? They're filming this movie in our place, and here's this, and here's all these costumes, and here's these characters that some of them you didn't know were in the movie, and
That's
it's like,
not smart.
Cleveland, stop, bro, chill.
That's
Like
not
people are
smart.
not going to come back here to film if you keep doing this.
That's not smart at all.
So we're not going to talk about the spoilery parts of it. I think we're just talking about two of the suits that are the ones that have most prominently leaked out. You've probably already seen them. So don't worry if you were thinking that we were going to get into too much of the spoilers. I think his Clark Kent looks phenomenal.
I was actually surprised by it. They gave him the messy hair and everything. I'm like, okay, like if I saw him here and then I saw Superman, I probably would be fooled a little bit.
Right. Yeah. Like I wouldn't think that they were the same person.
Yeah.
Or at least it would take me a while to figure it out. Right.
Mhm.
I think they do a really good job of making that distinction. I think
agree.
that's really, really cool. And
Well,
also,
yeah.
if I might say, I think David Cornsweet, like I've seen him in a lot of stuff now because after he was announced to be Superman, I went and I watched a bunch of his old stuff. That dude just is Clark Kent, like for real. Like he
has
is
the
that like
mannerisms,
kind of dorky, but like Boy Scout, good looks, got the dimples, everything. Like my man literally is just Clark Kent. He is perfect casting. If he can pull this off in a good acting way, which, to be fair, also at least in Hollywood, which is one of my favorite things Netflix has ever done, he is so good in it. So I do think that he can do it, but there is a strong possibility that he's going to come out the other end of this as my favorite Superman.
I hope so, man. He looks out. I know a lot of people had a lot of issues or at least they were upset with that that WB was moving on from what's his name?
Henry Cavill.
Cavill.
Yeah, Henry Cavill.
I miss him.
So, yeah, but
Here's the thing about
I'm
Henry
interested
Cavill.
to see how this plays out though. What were you gonna say?
Yeah.
Yeah.
My thing about Henry Cavill is I think he would have been a very good Superman, but I think that his acting style and just his personality, like his own human personality, obviously he puts on a different one when he's acting.
Yeah.
I don't think it fits Superman as well.
Mm.
Like he is very much like a tougher kind of guy. He has this like action hero, good looks type thing, whereas David Cornsweet is more or less like kind of goofy, like, he's still very handsome, but he's been like, he's upbeat, like peppy, happy.
Kind of
Henry Cavill,
more personable, maybe.
Henry Cavill looks like he will either be your best friend or beat your ass, and David Cornsweet looks like he would never get into a fight unless he had to.
One of my favorite.
Yeah, you can't. Yeah.
One of my favorites with Henry Cavill was in a Mission Impossible movie.
Oh yeah, where he cocks his arms.
Oh man, that was. Listen, you talk about testosterone building. I felt like my hair, chest on my hair grew a bit.
I feel like that became a touchdown for masculinity
Yeah.
somehow, just like overnight. Like for people who haven't even seen the movie, they saw the GIF and they're like, "Ooh,
All right.
a third testicle just dropped." I'm more manly than ever before.
Where's my club to go club some woman and drag her into my cage? But this aside, Crusader, I don't think we got your thoughts on it. What are you excited for this, man? Did you like the way the suits look? Anything like that to you? Did they impress you?
I'm gonna get chewed out by the group here.
Uh-oh.
I don't really like DC.
Oh, well, listen,
that's fine.
I'm a big
You're not-
Marvel fan.
you're-
I'm a big
yeah,
Marvel
you're allowed
fan.
to
so
disagree.
I get
I
it.
like a
prefer
thing.
Marvel comics a lot. I like
Yeah.
DC's animated stuff.
I
DC
agree.
animated stuff is incredible.
No,
Yeah,
no
it
question.
really is.
No question.
But like, I just never could get into any of the DC live action stuff outside of The Dark Knight.
Yeah. Well, their
Like,
movies have
that
been really
franchise.
bad for a long time. Like that's not a hot take.
Well, like it was like before The Dark Knight and after The Dark Knight. I've just been like I didn't enjoy any of it, right? It was specifically The Dark Knight. And then I like the bad Batman movies
Yeah.
because they're bad.
Look, as long as you don't as long as you don't hate the Arkham games, we can still talk. If you're about to be like,
and
and
that's
I
very
hate
different.
Arkham Knight,
I
then
actually
I'll-
genuinely I played them for the
karate
first
chop.
time in the last 12 months.
Yeah.
And I did really enjoy them.
They're good
and
games.
Batman is the DC character that I enjoy.
Yeah, he's
Yeah.
my favorite in DC by far.
Spider-Man
is my number one
really
character
enjoyed-
of all time. Batman is number 2 for me in the comics.
And to be fair, one of my favorite comic book arcs does happen to be DC. It's the Batman Who Laughs.
Ah, okay.
I
Oh.
love the Batman Who Laughs.
Oh.
but because I like Batman a lot. Does that make
Okay.
sense? Like I don't like DC, but I
Yeah.
like Batman a lot.
I feel like Danny did not like that the way he said.
No,
it.
it's
You did not?
a lot of people like that. To my understanding, was not a very
No,
popular
it wasn't.
comic
It was
run.
not. It absolutely wasn't. It is a take. It is a take of all time that I have.
No, it's all good.
Yeah.
It's all good.
I
Listen,
just
When they
I just
revealed
like the
it, it looked
concept.
amazing.
yeah.
I didn't like
It was
how
an
the
interesting
storyline
idea.
ended,
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
But like the whole, he was the Batman, like the skills of Bruce Wayne with the madness of the Joker.
Oh yeah. Yeah.
Like incredible villain.
It's an
And then
incredible
they were
kind
like,
of
yeah, but now he has
right?
Mr. Manhattan's powers, and it's bad.
Yeah.
It got pretty
That's what
stupid
it got
pretty
bad,
fast.
right?
But it
like
was you're right. It was a really good idea, and then they just like,
The
oh,
execution
They went too
wasn't
far.
we can go all
They
the
went-
way with this.
they went too far.
We
I
go
also
all
really
the
like
way.
his design.
Yeah.
The whole like
The spikes and all that.
he
Yeah,
honestly
yeah.
like reminds you of like the mouth of Sauron from
He
He
kinda
does. He does really look like
yeah.
that.
right. And I the mouth of Sauron
100%.
is one of my favorite character designs in Tolkien in
Tolkien.
in what Peter
of the
Jackson's
Rings.
Lord of the Rings, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like that design of the character is just so cool how they like superimpose the large mouth, and like
Yeah.
I love the Batman Who Laughs design, at least the one set of designs, because he looks like that.
You know what else also reminds me of? One of my favorite manhwas of all time. We haven't talked about manhwas enough. And I'm a
we
big,
haven't talked about anime in a while.
exactly. But there's one. By the way, I watched Hell's Paradise. We got to talk about this sometime.
It's really good.
It was really good. But there's a manhwa called Solo Leveling. I'm sure some of you all heard of
Yeah,
it.
yeah.
I praise it all the time. You heard me talk about it before. It is I don't want to give too much away because it's very pivotal, but there's a statue that does that smile very similar to the Batman Who Laughs. Very similar. It's the same,
Oh, I've seen that.
Yeah.
I know what you're talking about.
same creepy, as they would say, visage. It's very creepy and it's very similar. But anyway, I don't want to go on to too long because we have to move on. But there was a question in the chat. They said, choose one: Resident Evil 9 or Code Veronica remake. Which would you guys choose?
I've never
9.
played a Resident Evil.
Resident Evil.
What? Wait. What'd you say,
They're both
Crusade?
Resident Evil.
I've never played it. I own them all. I own every one of them. I have not played a Resident Evil game.
What's that?
Get this
I
dude out of
meant-
here.
I meant to do
Oh,
it.
dude.
I meant to do it last October for Halloween,
Yeah.
and then I got super busy at work and never had the time to sit down and play them.
Damn, you worse than me.
So my plan
Yeah.
is to do it this year.
Yeah,
Is to
well,
sit
hey.
down and play them all for Halloween this year.
Damn.
I
You're
own
making my
all of them.
backlog
Like, I own
feel
all of their
like not
complete
that bad
editions,
right now.
Right?
Yeah.
I think the
Yeah.
only one I don't own right now is the remake of 4, because I was like, I'm gonna play them in chronological order.
Oh, you got
Like,
a lot to play.
I can go back and forth between like
Chronological.
Yeah,
I
you
can
got
go
a
back
lot.
and forth between really old release and like a 360 game like Code Veronica. Like I can flip back and forth between the different game styles, no problem. Like that doesn't even enter into my brain. So like I don't really care how much I'm switching between styles of the games.
Right.
It's just like in my brain, like when I play through the Halo games over, I play them in chronological order, not release order. So I start with Halo Reach, right?
Yes.
And I play them through in story order. And so
But if you play Resident Evil in chronological order, you're gonna start with one of the worst ones.
that's fine. Listen. I played the entire way through the remake of the game called 13. It's an FPS.
Oh yeah,
It's
yeah.
awful.
Yeah.
So like
that was hated.
that's
when it
not
first
gonna
released.
that's not going to set my opinion of the franchise.
You know, it's
Well, I
Like
get-
it would
it's
have
tough,
to be
though, right? Because like
it would have to be like a 3 out of 10 game in general.
it's pretty
and
bad. Resident Evil Zero is bad.
Oh, is it?
I don't
Yeah.
know. I think
Alright,
he might
well,
like
It's
maybe-
not 3
I'll
out of
hold
10,
off.
but
Maybe
it's
I'll hold-
bad.
Maybe I'll hold off.
I think you might
Maybe
like
I'll
it. He
hold off
might
on that
like
one.
it. Maybe he might like it. But I'll say this.
I don't
like,
know.
It's something to say because you're out of the. How do I put this? It's like you have the water cooler moments, right? Like we can talk
Yeah.
about, hey,
Sure.
the Nemesis did this. Remember that moment? Like you kind of you've missed
Yeah.
that height of that popularity
Okay.
for it. But I mean, if that doesn't really affect you
I
too
have-
much, then you
Yeah,
know.
I have, as people can tell, I have very weird tastes in things.
Yeah.
And I will admit them on the internet. That's how you know I'm being
Yeah.
genuine when I talk about my opinions on things.
No,
Because
I
I'll straight
respect
up
it.
admit that the Batman Who Laughs is one of my favorite characters.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
Well, hey,
Like
I-
I'll admit
it's-
that to the internet.
To each their own
Um,
on it. I mean, it is what it is. Like I feel kind of scared sometimes. I will admit, and I'll say it, but I still feel kind of like butterflies in the stomach when I have to admit I never played that specific game. So I know how
Zero?
hard it is to say that. Like not zero, but in general, like if
Oh yeah.
if it's a really popular game, I'm like, oh, I never
Oh,
played that.
What
here's
do you
another
think
one.
is what do you
I've
think
only
is the
played
most
2 Final
popular
Fantasy
game?
games.
Which
Like,
two?
I've only played the remake of 7, the
Okay.
first part, and I have played 15.
That's such a weird two, but yeah, that
Hmm.
makes sense. That's fine.
I adore 15 though. I loved it.
Did you play 15 like King's Edition or whatever?
Yeah,
like
I
yeah,
played the
that's why.
Royal Edition, and
Yeah, that's why you
I
like
loved
that
it.
one.
And then I read the book because I loved it so much, and then I got really mad when I found out they canceled the other DLCs that were supposed to be coming,
Yeah.
and
Well, it's
made
because at first it
Forspoken
wasn't.
instead.
Yeah, at first it wasn't received very well because the launch version of that game was pretty bad.
Yeah.
And then they fixed it basically.
So we have to move on, guys. But
Yes. Yeah.
we
Yeah.
I want to obviously, Danny, I guess you can cue it up about Sika.
Sika? Yeah, for sure. So we had I guess he hasn't really been in the conversation for a while, so maybe a lot of people won't know him. But Sika Anoa'i of the Wild Samoans from WWF, also Roman Reigns, the Tribal Chief's father, has sadly passed away. I actually didn't write down his age, but he was up there. Like, this is not necessarily like the most surprising thing in the world, but it is very sad. Ton of tag teams, but they were very popular during the WWF era. And one of my favorite stories about them is one time they had been out drinking with Hulk Hogan, and this was back during the day where kayfabe was reality. Like, they had to pretend that everything was exactly how it appeared in the television product. And in the television product, they were animalistic tribal people who couldn't speak and were like gnawing on bones. They got arrested for, I think, just like DUI or something. I don't think they like beat anybody up. And they were taken into holding by the police. And Afa and Sika just completely stonewalled the cops because they were like, I'm a wild animal. I can't talk. I don't know. I can't talk to this cop. And they had to wait for, I forget who they called. I forget if it was Lou or if it was Vince, but they had to call somebody from like management to show up and get them out of jail.
They have to stay and respect the lore.
So they're
in
in a drunk tank, like gnawing on a chicken wing bone they took from whatever the 80s equivalent of a Hooters was.
Yeah. So it looks like he was 79 years old.
79. Yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah, I mean, I want to say fairly long lived, but he lived, it's a long time, 79 years, basically 80 years old. You know, I do remember seeing him put what do they call that thing? That thing they put over, like our Hawaiian brothers will put over. What is the name of that thing? That wreath of flowers. What is the name?
Well, the flower one is called a lei, but the Samoan one is something different. The one where it's the like pepper
It's
looking
like red.
thing. Yeah, I
Yeah,
don't know
the
what
red
that's
things,
called.
Yeah, I do remember him coming like to the event and doing that with his son to Roman. So that was, I'm sure Roman is going through it right now. I mean, with the loss of his father, I think Roman. I don't know if it was said or officially declared, but Roman is probably going through his own health issues. So,
Yeah, well,
possibly.
he's talked about his continued battle with leukemia.
Yeah.
It's called a ulafala.
Ulafala. Okay. All right. Yeah. So rest in peace to Sika, should I say? Condolences to his family and to the tribe.
To the bloodline.
To the bloodline, absolutely. Did we have anything else about it, right?
I had some other smaller game things that we can run through really fast. I don't think there's really anything to say about most of them.
Yeah.
The one I had here is Beyond Good and Evil 2 still exists. Ubisoft is not only saying that it still exists, but they're kind of walking the walk a little bit. Beyond Good and Evil is getting a new remaster for some reason. And it's apparently going to include a new mission that connects. Oh, it's already out.
Yeah, I
see,
believe it
this is
launched
how
the other
poorly
day.
Ubisoft is marketing
for $20.
things. Okay, so there's this remaster that they just put out, I guess, and apparently it has a new mission in it that connects the first game to what the second game is apparently, if it ever comes out, going to be. I don't know. I think I might be one of the only people on the planet that actually like cared about Beyond Good and Evil at this point, because the more I hear people talking about it, it's like why are we still doing this? I'm so excited for it, but will it happen? Who knows?
Wow.
I'm looking at the remaster now. Yeah, it dropped 2 days ago, and it looks like they actually delisted the original version of the game.
Oh,
So if
yeah.
you want to play it, you have
You
to
have
get the
to
new
get the
version.
I
And I'm
believe
reading
you
the
can
reviews right now.
I
It
think
looks
I-
like
get the
we're
original
set.
on GOG, I believe.
Okay,
Yeah.
cool.
Or I think they gave it. A lot of people probably have it because I'm pretty sure they gave it away for like games with gold a couple of times.
Yeah, I own it on 360.
Yeah.
I own the 360 version.
And then the only other thing I have here is they were apparently in the process of making a new Red Faction game before the studio was closed by Embracer. It was being worked on by Fish Labs, which was the studio that apparently made that game Chorus, like the space shooter flyer one, where the U looks like a V in the logo. You might have remembered it. I think it was like shown off in some of the like first showcases Xbox did for this new generation. They were working on it and just they shut down the studio, so it's canceled. So RIP to any of the fans of the Red Faction series, because who knows if that project's gonna get picked up. It feels unlikely.
Yeah. Well, RIP to that. Was that really it for everything?
That's it. That's everything.
All right. So I'm gonna announce the winner of the Xbox Game Showcase predictions. I should have done this last week, so my apologies to those who entered. There was only about 13 of you guys, so luckily it wasn't too ridiculous. KJ, what's up, brother? And shout out to everybody, by the way. Shout out to Gray Monad, who's monitoring and doing this thing for us and complaining about my singing. I don't know why I'm blessing your eardrums. You should be happy.
I didn't catch that.
Yeah, he was like, "Boo, my ears," or something like. What do you say? No, my ears. But
Yeah.
Oh, and Dogpool, my brother Dogpool, he gives a generous $2 donation. He says, "Godzilla uwu." That was to you, obviously.
Thank you, Cujo. Thank you, Dogpool.
Absolutely. Shout out to everybody that was here. I know I saw Try Hard fan. I saw AJH. I'm sure it's like 3 a.m. for him. So thanks for coming through, King Styles. I see you. I think Palpatine. I saw you, King Webb, Boom's twin. I won't say the actual other name, but I'll keep that under wraps for you. It's out of respect. Mortivore, of course, brother, who tries to stir up the hornet's nest.
He's doing it right now.
See,
Look
he
at
just
him.
did. Even though I just shouted him out. See what I mean? That's why I don't shout you out. Anyway, so we had about 13 contestants for this from the Xbox Game Showcase predictions, and these were the results. So 3 correct was Gerard, or Gerard. That's Geeraad. Gerard. He had 3 correct, and then we had. Oh, actually, he was like not even the lowest. Abdel, aka Clute. He had 1 correct out of the showcase predictions. You came Gerard had 3. You had Sergeant Sentinel. Shout out Sarge. That is terrible.
They really don't want you to give this stuff away.
They really don't.
No, it doesn't.
OBS says give it to me.
Right.
I was looking at. Oh, is
we're
it back for
on.
you?
It should be back, yeah. Hey, sorry about that, chat. I'm not sure again if you guys haven't done so yet, but refresh your page. Yeah, this thing was giving issue. I'm not sure why. I'm just gonna switch to this image. Maybe that'll calm it down or something. I don't know. Anyway, the Moon Man had 6. Coming in at 7 was John McKinnon, Don Otaku, and my brother Ozymandias. You all had 7 correct. And the winner, drum roll please, was my brother Dunn Papa John. He had 8 correct for the showcase.
Shoo!
So shout out to you, brother. You win the Hypercharge Unboxed. I'll just contact you because I'm not sure if you're listening at this moment. Or if somebody else is hearing it and know Dunn, could you hit him up and let him know? Contact me. I'll get it to him one way or another. He wins the Hypercharge. We will be doing a spin soon for the Shadow of the Erdtree DLC. So if anybody is here for that, also make sure you stay tuned to see if you won, and then to contact us immediately to get this taken care of on the platform of your choice. So let's move to the Shadow of Erdtree. We're not going to stay on it too long because unfortunately most of us hadn't got a chance to get to it yet. I wanted to, but I was trying to finish up Octopath Traveler 2, so But so Kiryu, we're going to use you as our ask about the Shadow of Erdtree button. Let me ask you, brother. As far as the game goes, now we've heard a lot of complaints about it being way too hard. And now that they've apparently added some patch that's supposed to fix things, have you noticed any differences in difficulty? Has it become easier?
So before the patch, I can definitely see a little bit of a difference. But before the patch, I wouldn't have said it was too hard, honestly. I mean, like, okay, yeah, I've died a lot. I don't know how many times I've died, but I just wasn't picking up the new items that they want you to pick up. Like, I only had one of them, and now I've picked up way more. And I don't know if you already know about it, but basically there are these. Now they're spelled kind of funny. It looks like the word is like Skadootree, like Skadootree fragments, but apparently, according to the devs themselves, it's pronounced Shadow Tree fragments. They just spelt it like for an old way of saying shadow, I guess.
You know, I saw
So
them
you're
talk
supposed to
about that
pick
on
up all of those. Yeah,
on what was it? Kind of funny. They mentioned it.
yeah,
So it's not really Skadoo Tree. It's
yeah. It's Shadow Tree, even though it's spelled like Skadoo. Like Kung Fu Panda.
Skadoosh. Right.
Skadoosh. Yeah, no, it's Shadow Tree fragments, and you just got to pick up as many of those as you can. The limit, I actually don't know. Actually, I think you might have told me the limit, but if you did, yeah, you told me yesterday, I believe.
Yeah.
I just forgot.
50. It's 50.
Now I'm currently at +8 on that, and there's definitely a difference. So just picking up the fragments help. Now that patch doesn't permanently make things easier. All the patch did was make the beginning scaling. So like your first couple of times, you know how you have to sit at the side of grace with your, the golden seeds or the tears, and you would increase your flasks. It's kind of like that. You're gonna sit at the grace, and they basically just buff the first couple times you use the fragments to buff your character. After the first few times, it's still what it was before the patch. So it's slightly buffed for the first few Shadow Tree levels, basically.
Okay. Now let me ask you, if having played it as much as you have, I looked it up and I loaded up mine. I was level 227. Does that matter at all if you don't have any of these Shadow Tree fragments, or will you still get your ass handed to you?
Yeah, your level. They did design the game. I mean, the expansion. Honestly, it is a whole other game. This feels like a sequel, but the expansion is designed in mind that you have crafted your own demigod, basically. Like you've already supposed to have gone through so much, killed so many beings and gods, and they pretty much designed it like that because you're supposed to get through 2 bosses before you can get to the expansion. The first one would actually be Radon, which isn't like too late game, especially depending on your playthrough. Like if you do Ronnie's quest line, you can kill Radon, and he might be like the second actual main boss you've killed if you do it quickly. And then the next boss would be Mog, which he's very late game, like definitely past the 100-ish level. So I would say like they build it in mind with this is how much you should have done, so you should be this strong. But if you're level 150 or 250, 300, that doesn't matter because they want you to explore. They want you to find the Shadow Tree fragments. Yes, they want you to suffer, and I have been suffering. I've been suffering a lot.
Suffering thuckatash.
I was telling you before we went live. Yeah, I want to play the game, but I don't want to crash out live. So I'm just gonna wait patiently. Because every boss is, a learning curve and figuring out what you got to do for this one. If you ever play Dark Souls 2, Dark Souls 2 is notoriously, I wouldn't say hated because it's a very good game, but in the community, there's like a split between it. And this is Elden Ring is like the joke is it's Dark Souls 2 too, because everything in the DLC has been designed to punish you, like. Everything you might have a habit of, okay, I'm going to move this many times and the boss is going to chill for a second, I'm good. There's not a single boss that is like that. They will punish you for healing. You have to be extremely patient and realizing, I've dodged 13 times. No, hold on, there's 3 more swings in this combo and then I'll be good. Like, every single boss is just built to punish you. They're built and designed to, like, you might have thought for most bosses or just most of the main game, you get your own little habit with how you're going to roll every time. every single boss in this expansion is a little different, and I'm still learning the current boss I'm fighting. Every time I think I'm good, there's like a couple movements, and it could be one of the three, and they all start the same way. So I don't really know what it's doing until it just starts doing it. So you have to be patient.
Okay.
And don't be shy to test out any item, even if it looks like an item you wouldn't care about on your character or build. There's a lot of stuff that they made in the DLC specifically for, hey, this is the DLC. Try some new stuff because these stats and resistances are built for the DLC.
See, now that's a problem for me, right? Like, can we transmogrify or anything like that in these? Because I am big on aesthetics again, and I hate walking around with nonsense on. And I see a lot of players playing games like these or the Souls games. They'll have just anything. I'm like, I don't want to walk around looking like a fool while I'm slaying these demons and things. Well, can any of that be modified or turned off so you can appear like you in something else or anything?
Oh, no. Now I get what you're asking. At first I was lost. No, you can't. But you can still... So, like, I wouldn't say it's forced, switch your armor set every time. But there's definitely some stuff where it's like, hey, if you like heavy armor, this heavy armor set is here. It's here for a reason. It's
Right.
like, try that out. Or with my talismans on most of my builds, I build most of my characters around a PvP aspect in mind, but I still play mostly PvE. I love playing the game with people. I don't care if I've killed a boss 30 times over. I'll still help people do it. That's how I like to play the games. But I always build with a PvP aspect in mind. So there's certain talismans that, like, if you're a tanky buff build, there's some new talismans that will make you way buffier. Like, they've now gone to scaling +3 on I can't remember the exact name, but you know how there's those medallions? It's like, here's the regular one, and then the +1, and then the +2. Well, now we go past that. Now there's +3. So you can get the +3, and your health bar is huge. You can get a +3 of, the great shield talismans. There's like the regular one for physical, and then the one for magic. Like, there's +3 of those. So you can buff yourself even more than you could before.
Nice.
So if I'm finding a boss that is using way too much magic on me, I choose one of the 4 talismans, and it's like, you know what? I'm gonna just switch this for now because I'm fighting, this specific thing, and I'll switch back later. And it works. It helps a lot.
Yeah. Now, did you guys have any questions for Kiryu on this? Now, Bushido, I agree with you 100%. Every Souls-like game or Souls game should have armor that needs to be transmog. They should be able to transmog on any RPG-based game, in my opinion. Any game, it should have that feature. But did you guys have any questions for him on this? We don't have to stay on this one too long, actually, largely because we were a bit behind time, and I want to get to the drawing. But if you all had any questions, Crusader or Danny, to hear you on this DLC, ask away.
I really don't have a ton. I'm curious to hear, because you say it's like a whole game by itself. I know it's $40 and apparently long as hell, although I wonder how much of that time is people just getting their ass beat by the same bosses over and over again. Right. Like, when you say that it's like a whole game all to itself, do you just mean like the size of it? Do you mean like the number of bosses? I'm assuming that you've played like the DLC.
The number of bosses and the size, everything, honestly.
So you've played, I assume, the DLC of like other Souls games. How would you say this stacks up to something like, I don't know, the Dark Souls 2, 3 expansions or whatever?
This is my number one DLC for years has been, and it was hard, but for a long time, it's been the Old Hunters from Bloodborne.
Let's go.
Before Elden Ring, I thought Bloodborne was like their peak. I love that game. I just platinumed that game this year. I just went back and did it all over again and finally platinumed it. And that is the hardest 100% I've ever done. Because there's some stuff you have to do on that game that's like almost multiplayer related, and it's just. But that was my number one. I don't know if I would say this beats that, but for me, this beats Artorias. For sure, the Artorias DLC for number one. I only played 2, the Dark Souls 2 DLCs, but I would put this above those. And I don't know. This, by the end of it, maybe this will be my the top for me, because I've only killed. I think I've only encountered around 10, maybe a dozen bosses, but I think there's 78 bosses in the expansion.
Jeez.
78.
There must be a lot of
78.
reused ones.
Sheesh.
That's combining the story ones. So like you just said, reused ones. I have fought 2 dragons, and the first one I found, I was like, oh, okay. From a distance, this just looked like, it's a dragon boss, whatever. And then you go up to it, and it's a new element. It's a death dragon, which you get in its
In my
breath now,
experience, they
and
were
you
all death
die.
dragons.
Right. You like, oh,
Well, you
it's
know what I
bad.
mean.
That's a dragon.
The
Yeah,
death
yeah.
effect, yeah.
You're like,
There-
hey,
there's
that's
like-
bad, dude. That's a dragon that
Yeah.
can kill you out there. Then you get to it. Oh no, it's a literal death dragon. And that's
Yeah.
bad.
So like I have fought 2 of those, and one just, they looked slightly different. One was harder than the other.
Yeah.
But there's another dragon in this DLC,
A
and
double-
this dragon it's probably, if you've played Dark Souls 3 and you fought Dark Eater Midir, that is probably the most ridiculous dragon boss they've ever made. This is probably going to overtake that.
Well, they had
like,
one also in the base game too. What was the name? Placid.
Well, yeah, Placiduceus.
Yeah.
I probably pronounced it wrong, but it's
I
spelled
think
like
that's close.
Placiduceus or something.
Placiduceus.
Placiduceus.
I love like how you find
We
that
just
boss.
got Walmart.
Right.
But as long like his moveset was really slow. He hurt a lot, but he was slow. And the Dark Eater from Dark Souls 3, you felt like you were fighting Godzilla with wings. Because I had all these beam attacks. It would do them so much. Like,
that's
yeah,
not
Placiduceus has them, but he was so quick with them.
Mhm.
This boss, can I say the lore behind it or no?
You know what? I don't think too many people will care. Go ahead.
Okay. So you know how when you fight Placiduceus,
Right.
It's in
he's not in his prime.
fallen
He's
state.
very damaged. He's even if you he's a 5-headed dragon. He's missing 3 heads.
Yeah.
Yeah. And if you read some of the talismans, you basically see, like, after being very wounded from the last war, he's waiting there for his god to return, because he was like the Elden Lord of the land before, the Erdtree and the Queen Marika and Godfrey and all that. The reason why he is damaged is because of this dragon you meet in the DLC. This dragon tried to kill him. It tried to take over and be like the dragon above all, basically. It didn't work out. They both just screwed each other up. Like, this dragon in the DLC is ridiculous.
I mean, it sounds like he couldn't kill that guy, but I killed him though.
Sounds
I
like
take him.
a skill issue. I'm just saying.
That's not a skill issue. I took him out, no problem.
You
I
know.
one shot that guy. Mm-hmm.
Get good, scrub. No, listen. You had a question in the chat, Kiryu. Bushido asked, "Ask Kiryu why is he a Godzilla poser?"
I ain't no poser shit.
And Palpatine mentioned. He says, "Seems like most of the people complaining about the Shadow of the Erdtree difficulty didn't want to change or experiment with their build. Do you think that's
Exactly.
You think that's largely what it is?"
Yeah, that I was trying to be nice about it, but that's kind of how I'm looking at a lot of these people saying it's too hard. Like, I think they just forgot, because they've been playing this game off and on for 2 years. Like, this is a Souls game, and you're not doing New Game Plus with your 180 or 200 whatever level character. You're playing a new piece of content that was designed with that in mind. These people have been playing for 2 years. We got to find a way to make it a challenging experience. This is the longest it's taken for a piece of content to come out for a Souls game.
I will say though, that was one of my complaints with the base game Elden Ring. Like, because I love the game, like no shade to it, but one of the things that I found really irritating about it was, like, there were certain builds that you couldn't really beat the game with. Like, you kind of had to have some kind of status for some of those bosses, particularly Millennia. Like, you had to have like bleed or something, or if you were going to take her down, or you were going to just bash your skull against the wall for 100 attempts against her.
She killed me about 40
and I think
times, so I know exactly what you mean.
And I think that sucks, because every other Souls game, you can pick a weapon and that can be your guy, and you can beat that game pretty easy. Like, not pretty easy, but, like, you know what I mean. Like, all builds are valid, whereas I feel like in Sekiro and in Elden Ring, both of them are like, No, there is a good build for this. And that always irritated me. So the idea of like you have to go into this DLC and then change your character up if you're gonna get through it, like that's kind of irritating to me. Like I spent a lot of time with my character, and he did
Well,
some
I
good
haven't
things.
changed a whole lot yet. I've only leveled up a couple times. I tried not to level up. I try to have a cap just for the multiplayer scene, but
Hmm.
with this DLC, I've leveled up a bit more just to be like, okay, no, if I want to use this, I have to be faster with it, or I gotta change it. And I'd rather keep using what I'm using and just get a little more endurance, get a little bit more mind, and be quicker.
Yeah.
But you, I guess this will be the last question before we do the drawing. But I hold on, I just had the question and I literally forgot it. Now, as far as you had like 20. I mean, you said about 30 hours into it, and obviously you think it's worth it to buy. So I heard the map is about the size of Limgrave. Is that about accurate?
I was gonna, yeah, okay. Um, I was gonna get into that because if you saw any of the interviews, yeah, the Miyazaki himself had said, "Oh, it's about the size of Limgrave." I don't think he. I think he was intoxicated when he said that. I don't think he knows how small Limgrave is compared to this DLC. Maybe looking at a part of the map, if you were to compare it, just a map picture and map picture alone, yeah, that's about that size. But it's not like that. There's so many layers of that's like you're exploring and you think it's not designed how the main map is. I don't know how to explain it. The main map is designed like you spawn and you just go in any direction and you're gonna find something. But your sites of grace will, point you in a direction. This one's not like that. I've only had one site of grace that tries to point me, hey, go here next, and I don't know why it's there because I killed a boss and it's just pointing at a wall. So like I just took that as go in that general area because none of the graces are, pointing like that. I don't know if there's a lore reason behind it, like maybe because we're in the shadow of the Erdtree, like we're not in the main area. But no, this map is designed like you can see all kinds of stuff from a distance, but it makes no sense how you get there. Like you don't just run to the right for 20
Oh,
miles in the game and you're
let me
in a
ask
new
you.
area like Kaled.
Let me interject for a second. Now you said run. Do you get a chance to use your mount in this?
Oh yeah, like the whole map.
Okay. Because I asked because
There's
I always saw
actually
people like running
been
around. I'm like, where is the mount? Okay.
they actually have a new patch with the DLC. You can now use your mount in the final boss of the game with the Elden Beast.
Oh
That
wow.
giant area. Because the area felt like it was designed for that, and you couldn't use your horse there. Now you can.
Hmm. So
But there's
Palpatine wrote
actually
this. Tell me if you've seen this. He said he just watched a video about how jumping is better than dodging, and the cracked pots, of which I remember you telling me about for one of those things you were fighting, can make bosses, including Millennia, crumble. Meaning there's deep tools almost. All of us don't look into.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. Well, it's
And
not. Sorry, the jumping thing, because I remember that from the base game. It's not the jumping is better dodging. It's that there are certain attacks where you need to jump,
Yeah.
and there are certain attacks where you need to dodge.
Mm.
Yeah, the DLC just does it a little. It's yeah. Like there's some moments where it looks like, oh, that's gonna come at me, so I should roll, and no, it shoots into the ground, and you're supposed to know you. Oh no, jump 3 times. There's a moment like that in the DLC.
Yeah,
But
I was watching somebody fight a boss that just kept shooting like nonstop laser beams, and I was like, I don't know that I'm gonna play this anytime. This seems like a
I
lot.
think
Right
that
now.
might be one of those situations where you use your Physic Flask. I know there's a tier I have where you temporarily turn all damage into it healing you instead of damaging you. And
Oh,
that's one of
wow.
those moments where I'm gonna throw that on.
Nice. So yeah, any Crusader, did you have any question for him or last one to wrap this
Nope.
one up? Okay. Well, Shadow of the Erdtree, I bought it myself. Definitely going to play it in as a, I guess, gift to you guys for who played who at least entered the contest, the giveaway. Kiryu here is actually providing the code for the game on your platform of choice, be it PlayStation, be it Steam, be it Xbox. We'll figure those details out if you win and talk with you. So, without further ado, let's do the spin for that. Give me 1 second.
Yes, sir.
And I will pull that up. Sorry about this, audience. Make sure I didn't press the spin by mistake. That'd have been messed up. Like, brrr, oops.
Like, oh, oops.
All right, there we go. So as you guys can see, 155 entrants. I have not touched this thing once. And let's see. Here we go.
Let's go.
Good luck to everyone. Only one winner, unfortunately. But again, if I'm feeling cheery enough, I might do another one and give another giveaway myself. Oh. It's like playing Wheel of Fortune.
Man, these names are so small. It's kind of hard to see them.
Yeah. It's going to pop up on the screen once it lands. Let's see. Who do we got? Who do we have? Oh, who's that?
It's still
Blind Riot. Nice.
Alrighty.
That was a nice one. It was close. Hey, shout out to Blind Riot, who, by the way, does patronize the show and Infinite podcast all the time. Him and Riskit have some type of weird combatant kind of thing going on. But yeah, shout out to Blind Riot. You are the winner. Shout out to you, brother. I'll contact you soon and we'll figure out which way you want to go about getting this. Shout out to you. Congrats to you, should I say. And sorry to those who did not win. Again, I will probably do something special again to give you all guys another chance to win, because there was a lot of people to enter. So chances were slim, unfortunately. But yeah. Blind Right, I'm not sure if you were paying attention or not, if you were here. But reach out to us, or I'll eventually reach out to you. Yeah. Well, I think I will. I'm going to say this, guys. I'll do another one next week, maybe. Just because I feel like it was so many of you all. Yeah, it was so many of you all. And it feels unfair in a way. Like, I mean, it's fair because it's random picking, but I feel kind of bad because there was so many of you guys that jumped into it that want to play this. And I don't want to leave you all feeling too empty-handed. So I'm going to do another giveaway for this next week. Yeah, I'll post it on my timeline, so pay attention to it and follow the rules to enter. This time, I'm going to make it to where you have to post on that tweet because, again, I had to track down people to make sure that I put their names in this, and I don't want to have to do that much work again. And listen, we're going to move to our final topic and then get out of here. It's not going to take much time to talk about it, but it's obviously a major discussion that needs to be had that broke over the week, the other day, rather. So, Dr. Disrespect. Not sure how many of you guys are fans of his or were fans of his and saw this news about, about what he had done, apparently. So it's a bunch of controversy surrounding him here, and I'm going to go through the timeline of events as fast as I can and try to get you guys' thoughts on it, and then we'll get out of here. So the controversy started back at the height of the COVID-19 pandemic when Dr. Disrespect was permanently banned from Twitch. Now, I don't watch any of these streamers like this, so this is just new to me with like, oh, this streamer, blah, blah, blah. I've known of Dr. Disrespect. I know of his persona, the dude bro kind of thing with the mustache and all of that. The wig, but I've never like, oh, I gotta watch Dr. Disrespect now. I've never been that enamored with any streamer personally. So he had over 4.5 million followers at the time of the ban in June. That's a lot of followers. So if they kicked him or banned him from that, he had to do something that was pretty big. Because I know he was bringing in a ton of money for them. So in June 2020, this was certainly surprising considering no concrete reasoning was ever provided by either party. Without any concrete reasoning, a lot of speculation had taken place over the past 4 years. The first speculation post regarding the ban was made by Rod Breslow, aka
Slasher.
at Slasher on Twitter, and he posted something today, by the way, which Crusader you can go into once we get to you. I'll go to you first. An
there
insider.
was a development during this episode.
That's right. Oh, something new.
Yeah.
Oh wow. Okay. This is bad for this guy, I'm gonna say. And I waited, by the way, because I've had a situation on this. I'm gonna talk on it briefly, which kind of made me hold off, and it really brought a new perspective to me when it comes to these types of things and allegations, because I know how serious this stuff can be, and people will lie on you. Now, this, I don't believe people are lying on him, but that's just my thoughts. And we know for a fact now certain things because he himself admitted it. So we'll get to that in 1 second. An insider who wrote in June 2020, for several hours now, I have been told from credible sources that the reason Dr. Disrespect has been banned. However, due to the importance and sensitivity around the subject, I have refrained from going on it. I don't feel comfortable with it currently. That was from Slasher there. This
4
was
years ago.
4 years
today.
ago. Wow.
Today.
Oh, is
The
it today?
date.
Oh, it
The date.
is. Wow. Isn't that something? 4 years to the day.
A little anniversary moment.
Right.
Dang.
Do you know what today is? Yes, Gray. I'm burning your eardrums. So, in July and December of 2023, former Twitch employee, and I think that kind of undermines what he really was. Cody Connors, right here, was actually more than just that. I'm going to get to his title once I switch to another page. But he claimed that he knew the reason behind the ban, and a reason why I brought that up because it just says Twitch employee. I think that undermines his position. He was in a very, I don't want to say high, but he was in a position where he definitely would have seen these types of communications and known about this in depth. He claimed that he knew the reason behind the ban and even appeared to have been using it to promote his events, which is just weird, by the way. I don't know what this guy was thinking with that. In a post on July 2023, he wrote, "Listen, if all 3 dates sell out, I'll tell you why he got banned." That's just, I don't know. I mean, I don't know why he thought to do that. That's bizarre. Like, you don't monetize or try to monetize something like this for telling the truth in a situation that involved an underage person. It's just weird to do that. I know he came out and apologized, which I'll get to, but it's just, I don't know. It casts negative aspersions on this guy's character. The same Cody Connors made a post on June 22nd, 2024, which was just last week. Or was it even last week? Yeah, last week, right? Was it Friday? Saturday? Alleging that the doc had tried to message as well as meet an individual who was not of age. He wrote, he got banned because he got caught sexting a minor in the then existing Twitch Whispers product. He was trying to meet up with her, so we know it was a girl, according to Cody here, at TwitchCon. The powers that be could read it in plain text. Case closed, gang. That had 5 million views, as you can see. As of this image here, 14,000 likes, 2.7 thousand bookmarks, etc., etc. I'm sure it's astronomical now if you go look at it. Cody did not mention the streamer's name explicitly, but considering Doc's subsequent responses to the controversy that Cody's post led to, it said likely, but it was obviously him. Another individual who had spoken on the controversy was Tiny Chat founder, I didn't even know about this one until this article, Daniel Saltman, during an appearance on Steven, aka Destiny's podcast Bridge in April of 2024, he alleged, "This was 2 years ago, and I was in Outpost buying a minicopter, and I remember someone saying Dr. Disrespect got banned from Twitch because he was messaging underage girls. That's what I heard in Rust." So this was said in April, before we even got to this point, by this guy. So this is widespread, apparently, by those in the know. What did Dr. Disrespect say after the controversy surfaced? So after Cody Connors' post gained viral attention online, Dr. Disrespect quickly responded following a repost of the allegations by online reporter. That sounds so weird. Online reporter Jake Lucky here. Anyway, the streamer addressed that situation on the situation on the same day, June 22nd. He said, "Jake, seriously, I get it. It's a hot topic, but this has been settled. No wrongdoing was acknowledged, and they paid out the whole contract, which is just a very odd thing to write out, considering what you're being accused of, in my opinion.
He had a Drake moment.
He did. I'm Drake. That can never be like as if because you're Drake you couldn't do these things, or as if other famous people hadn't done such heinous things. Very weird. The YouTube streamer made a second response, this time on his timeline, stating, "I'm obviously tied to legal obligations from the settlement, which with Twitch, but I just need to say that what I can, since this is the effing internet. I didn't do anything wrong. All this has been probed and settled. Nothing illegal, no wrongdoing was found, and I was paid. Elden Ring Monday." I don't know why he mentioned Elden Ring, and that sounds as if to like
gonna be streaming on Monday.
Right, stream, yeah.
Like but like why even mention that in that? Like, hey, I'm talking about this very serious situation. Let's brush this off. Elden Ring.
He was saying confidently that this is a nothing burger.
That's what he tried to do. Exactly.
That's what he tried. Yeah. That's what he tried to do.
It's just,
and he did. He was streaming on Monday.
He was, right? And that's when that video surfaced with him getting that notification on his phone. Is that what happened?
Yeah, because he was live.
Yes.
Wow. Okay.
He was live. Yeah, that happened live. It was almost
the
exactly
music
like
kicked in perfectly.
Before. Yeah.
So you had other streamers and such, and like for instance Nick Merckx. I'm not even going to go into his. It's too much to try to read all of that. But basically, he came out to defend him. I saw other people coming out to defend him, which I get. If he's your friend, you that's what friends would do. You're not going to think your friend, if they're your friend at least, would do something like that, right? I get it. So I'm not going to fault them for that. But to their credit, they did come out and say, hey, we got to distance ourselves from him after they found out the truth. So this was Cody after that happened, and people called him out for monetizing the situation for those ticket sales for that event. He says those three tweets warrant admonishment, maybe more than 3. The stands trying to dig stuff up have been so underwhelming that I presume they missed something. I apologize for it all because it's worth apologize. Yeah, I'm sure you meant apologizing for. The subtext of the bit, again shameworthy, is that you're the last person to know. The information had been so normalized, declawed in the circles that I ran in that could be reduced to illusion and entendre. For everyone who has since said that's effed, I agree with you on Friday night before you wrote it. I should have. You wrote it? Oh, he does mean. Okay, I thought he meant he wrote it, but no, he means them. I should have agreed with you sooner. I cannot take it back, but I can stop it. I never said I'm a perfect person. I just hope this class grades on this curve. So Cody, to his credit, came out to apologize. I don't know if that improves anyone's feelings on him, but yeah. So let me move to the next one, which was this. So on the June 23rd, Dr. Disrespect received a message that appeared to dispirit the streamer. During the end of the Elden Ring Shadow of the Erdtree session, Beam, which is his real name, obviously, indicated that he might be stepping back from streaming altogether, explaining, I'm just feeling burnt out. Maybe it's time. Yeah, I'm sure you are. Maybe it's time to start something new, something different, he told his viewers. But I think first and foremost, though, I did have a bit of planned vacation coming up, but I might have to extend that starting today. It is what it is. People get fatigued. Yeah, fatigued, huh? To be honest, I don't know how long my vacation is, but maybe I extend that. We'll see. All of this just feels like him dressing up his audience to say, hey, some stuff is about to come out. Maybe I might go away for a while. It's up to you guys. If you don't cancel me. That's what it reads like to me. If you support me and I don't get canceled, I'll be here with you. So this came out just before the game studio he co-founded, Midnight Suns, announced it would be severing ties from the streamer. Now, look how fast life comes at you. Like all these things I read to you, all of this was in the span of what, 2 days, a day?
Yeah.
Clearly the guy has tons of people who follow him and support him. I know a lot of them were in denial. Some of them still are. I've seen people trying to claim people as PDFs. I'm not going to say the actual word because I think it's a violation on TOS here. So let's be mindful of that, by the way, guys. But this guy went from, I'm sure, beloved by many to, and I'm not gonna say too much because I know Danny. I know you got something to point to on that too. But him
Yes.
and the Nick Merckx guy, they're infamous also too for pointing at other communities and saying casting aspersions on them. And then you see all this about him, and it's like, wait a minute. So it was you all along. It's
Projection.
right. Projection
Yeah.
101. Let me read this last part and then I'll get to you guys. On Friday evening, we became aware of allegations against one of our co-founders, Guy Beam, aka Dr. Disrespect. We assumed his innocence and began speaking with parties involved. And in order to maintain our principles and standards as a studio and individuals, we needed to act. For this reason, we are terminating our relationship with Guy Beam immediately. While these facts are difficult to hear and even more difficult to accept, it is our duty to act with dignity on behalf of all individuals involved, especially the 55 developers and families we have employed along with our community of players. Now, if a company you co-founded with, who needs your clout, let's be real, to big them up in what they're doing, if they say, hey, we looked into it, talked with people, and we have to split part ways, that should tell you enough, I would think. Because these guys, and I'm not trying to sound offensive, but they're no one.
Mm-hmm.
And if they're saying, hey, we're going to part away from this guy who can bring us a big audience, you had to do something pretty bad that they didn't agree with. And that's
a literal co-founder.
Right.
I wonder if that's actually the message he got. Like it was a message from someone there, and like, hey, we need to talk. And it's just like, oh no.
That's a good point. That is a good
that
point.
or it was the request to comment from Rolling Stone.
Yeah.
Because that article today is bad.
Yeah. So this is, I'm going to read his statement here, and then we will, yeah. Then I'll go to you guys. Excuse me 1 second while I switch this scene, because I have this on this page and it just looks terrible on this. Hold on 1 second. Okay. Sorry about that. Give me 1 second.
I'm gonna DM you the excerpts from the Rolling Stone article.
Okay. You can feel free to read them if you want when we get to you.
Sure, I'm just gonna DM them to you if you want to try and get them up on the screen.
Okay. So, this is Dr. Disrespect's. This is Dr. Disrespect's. I guess letter. He said
That's his headstone.
Yeah, his quick statement, as he put it. It was a very lengthy quick statement, by the way. It looked like Nib wrote this. But he says, hello, I'd like to make a quick statement. The Twitch ban. He said, let's cut the effing BS. As you know, there's no filter with me. I've always been upfront and real with you guys on anything that I can be upfront about. And I'm always willing to accept responsibility, which is why I'm here now. First and foremost, I do want to apologize to everyone in my community as well as those close to me, my team, and everyone at Midnight Society Game Studio. A lot of people have been left in the dark about what happened yesterday with Midnight Society and I, and we made the painful decision collectively. It didn't sound collectively. It sounded like they parted ways with you on their own to have me step down. Our team is full of incredibly talented and good people that have high career ambitions and families, and I never want to jeopardize, I'm sure he meant to, the culture we have carefully crafted. Everyone has been wanting to know why I was banned from Twitch, but for reasons outside of my control, I was not allowed to say anything for the last several years. Now that sounds weird in itself, but for reasons that were outside of my controls, I was not allowed to say anything.
NDAs.
Yeah, that's NDAs.
Like, NDAs.
And let's be clear, it wasn't just like you were punished by these NDAs. These NDAs serve to protect you, my man.
Yep.
So he's saying it as if like, hell, they did this to me and I couldn't say anything. You didn't want to say anything.
Yeah, that's the angle he's trying to create.
Right.
Because he's been dodging this for years.
Exactly. Literally. Says, now that 2 former Twitch employees have publicly disclosed the accusations, I can tell you my side of the story regarding the ban. And if people are wondering, which I'm sure you guys have known, by the way, at this point, the reason why the former Twitch employees could say anything now is because the statute of limitations for that NDA is up, so they can now speak on it. It says, were the Twitch whisper messages with an individual minor back in 2017? The answer is yes. Wow. And he said it like, hey, yes, this did happen. and as if it was nothing. Were there real?
Edited the word minor out, and then
He-
when people
Yeah.
caught it, he
That's
put
a
it back
good
in.
one. He edited 3 times apparently this message, where he took out minor and then put it back, and I think he must not have
So
known
there
that
was
we
the
could see it.
original, there was the edit, and there's the new one. So there's 3 versions of the
Right.
first 2 edits.
That's what it is. 2 edits, and then it's the final one that he left it at, which put it back on there. By the way, did he not know that we could see the did he not know that we could see the
I
previous
think a
ones?
lot of people don't know that because
Ah.
they don't use the feature.
Okay. It's like it makes me think of that Cat Williams joke. He's like, "We see you." He says an individual minor back in 2017. The answer is yes. Were there real intent? Now this right here made me like really N-word. He says, were there real intentions behind these messages? The answer is absolutely not. So you had this casual conversation with this minor that he admits to was inappropriate, but you didn't have real intentions. Isn't that what like the people, the PDFs say when they're caught by my man on the what's the name of that show? By Hansen. Hey, why don't you have a seat right there? Oh, I said all those terrible things I wanted to do to them, but I didn't mean any of that. I had no real intentions. But you brought condoms. Yeah, you see what I mean? Like that, when I read this, I'm like, what? How did you not have real intentions if you carried on a conversation like this that you knew was inappropriate? And he's saying inappropriate. He doesn't want to say what it really was, which was sexual. So these were casual, mutual conversations. It's funny to even say that mutual part when you know the person is underage. Technically, it can't be a consenting thing for them. Anyway, these were casual, and he tries to dress it up. That's the part I don't like. He's trying to dress it up in a nice way. It was the mutual conversation, casual conversations that sometimes lean too much in the direction of being inappropriate, but nothing more. Well, what was the inappropriate part? See, because you're not elaborating on it. That's the one I want to know. I want to know what exactly was said. You don't have to spoil who that person was, because they do have to protect that person, because let's be clear, these sycophants out here will absolutely attack this person who had said nothing. They will absolutely attack this minor girl. And I'm saying girl because Cody said it was a girl. So whoever they are.
Rod has also said it was a girl.
Yeah, see. So nothing illegal happened, he says. No pictures were shared, no crimes were committed. I never even met the individual. I went through a lengthy arbitration regarding a civil dispute with Twitch, and that case was resolved by a settlement. Let me be clear, it was not a criminal case against me, and no criminal charges have been brought against me. Now, from a moral standpoint, I'll absolutely take responsibility. Kudos to him there. But that doesn't really mean anything now. He says, I should have never entertained these conversations to begin with. That's on me. That's on me as an adult, as a husband and a father. It should have never happened. I get it. I'm not perfect, and I'll effing own my S. This was stupid. Now, with all of that said, don't get it effing mistaken. I've seen all the remarks and labels being thrown around so loosely. Social media is a destruction zone. I'm no effing predator or PDF. Are you kidding me? Anyone that truly knows me effing knows where I stand on those things with these types of people. F that. That's a different level of disgust that I effing hate even hearing about. Don't be labeling me as the worst of the worst with your exaggerations. Ugh. This whole part right here was just trash. This whole section right here was just like, shut up. Anyway, he says, get the F out of here with that. Man, let me stop protecting these words. Get the fuck out of here with that shit, he says. But I think I've said what I needed to regarding the ban itself. That's it. That's why Twitch made the decision in 2020. To my team, community, and industry friends that have supported me, I apologize. I wish I could have said all of this sooner. You guys have always shown me and family love, support throughout all these years. We love you guys like you can't imagine. I love the fucking best community and circle. If any of this has made you uncomfortable, I get it. You don't have to support me anymore, but just know you have always been greatly appreciated. But trust me when I say this, to all my haters that live and breathe social media with zero life experience, I don't give a fuck about you. I'm sure you don't. Finally, if you're uncomfortable with this entire statement and think I'm a piece of shit, that's fine. I absolutely think you're a piece of shit. He says, but I'm not fucking going anywhere, and I don't believe he is either. I'll get to that soon. I'm not the same guy that made this mistake all those years ago. I'm taking an extended vacation with my family, as mentioned on stream, and I'm coming back with a heavy weight off my shoulders. Oh, this just vindicated you, huh? They want me to disappear. Yeah, fucking right. So this guy is standing defiant, as you can see in what he just said here. He's standing defiant here. They want me to disappear. Yeah, fucking right. And you can see from the replies, people calling him names and such. You're scum, etc. People mocking him, and rightfully so. Now, I want to go to you guys, and I'll share this. I had a situation that popped up with me some time back, years ago, maybe a year and a half, maybe two, where this girl I was talking to absolutely lied on me and claimed that I was sexually harassing her. Now, for my case, luckily I had proof to quiet that really quick. But even then, little old me, that was like devastating to me. Kira, you know about a lot of this because I was in community. You know how it was, man. I was depressed. It hurt my soul to have somebody claim something like that on me that's just not in my character. It destroyed my whole confidence was shaken. Like I was really devastated by that. It hurt me like to the core. So I wasn't quick to jump to conclusions with this guy. I waited like for like a day or two before I even wrote anything. And I didn't even write anything that scathing when I did write it. But I held off judgment and such. And, you know, I don't want to presume guilt before seeing proof. And I think as a society, we have to get out of that because it's a dangerous play. And my people have been affected by it largely just by, they're guilty. They did it without any proof. We have to get out of that. Especially, I think, as men, I think we have that often just something thrown at us and people are like, oh, yeah, that's true. It happened. So I was, cognizant of that, and I was trying to give this guy some leeway. But then he comes out and he admits, oh, yeah, I did talk to a minor and all that. Well, that's the end of that. So I don't know who wants to go first.
Well,
but
and even
you want me to finish the story?
Yeah, go.
That though.
Yeah, sure.
So we had the Rolling Stone released an article that was partially written by Rod Breslow, Slasher, and from that story, he actually he has links of it on X if you just want to go to his if you page
for Slasher.
If you have X open there. Yeah.
Let me find it. You can
and
go ahead.
It's some of his top tweets. I also sent you a direct link to it.
Okay.
So a direct excerpt from the article is, I recall that Dr. Disrespect was made aware by the individual that they were underage during the conversation, after which he indicated that this was no problem and continued on, the former employee of Twitch says. There was no confusion. Messages sent after this was acknowledged were no less graphic and in sexual explicit nature than before, and I think more than the categorization of leaning too much in the direction of being inappropriate might indicate. Was one of the most scathing lines from the whole thing. So, Slasher, and with the authority of Rolling Stone behind him, that's the large publication, is alleging that Dr. Disrespect did know that this individual was a minor and continued talking to her anyways, very sexually.
Wow.
Man.
Wow.
A look inside Twitch during its Me Too movement, which happened about that time, which was largely kicked off by a Twitch streamer who had to rebrand and is now in the gaming community at large as a person who shows up on podcasts with people all the time. A certain rebranded name. There's another synonym there that might be able to go with that, but that kicked off that whole Me Too movement. They created an incident response team called Gold Sparrow to develop a process to investigate and take action. YouTube never offered Dr. Disrespect an exclusive big money contract like so many others, due to investigating journalists and Twitch employees who spoke to the executives in 2020. So YouTube had some knowledge of the allegations against him.
Wow.
So they didn't give him a deal, but they didn't outright.
No, because I don't think they had definitive proof.
Yeah.
It was just speculation, but they didn't. It was enough that they did not want to offer him a contract.
Yeah.
Now that's the key parts of the Rolling Stone article and the stuff from YouTube. Rod is quoting a direct quote from a former employee who he named. I don't know exactly where that is, but he named a YouTube employee, former head of like talent or something. It was Ryan Wyatt, the former head of gaming at YouTube, said directly to Rod that Dr. Disrespect was not offered a contract due to chatter around the circumstances of his Twitch ban.
Wow.
The swift ban on Twitch raised serious concerns within YouTube.
And you said Ryan?
Yeah, his
Ryan
name was
Wyatt?
Ryan Wyatt.
Ooh, okay.
Yeah, so Rod directly named that Ryan Wyatt was as someone who can directly say that YouTube did not offer a contract to him. So I think you can take that as a fact, right?
Mm-hmm.
Rod is naming a former YouTube executive who would have been the person to sign the contract with him.
Right.
Right. Also, Beam has been kicked out of the CAA, which is the agency for
For a lot of
creators.
and also for a lot of actors and stuff. CAA
Yeah.
is pretty big.
Yeah, so he's been kicked out of the CAA. Now,
Wow.
the thing that happened during the show is his monetization options on YouTube are gone.
Hmm.
You cannot do memberships to his channel anymore.
Wow.
We're not sure if his team took those down or if YouTube took them down, but you cannot do memberships to his channel anymore.
So
that happened during the middle of the show.
there was another thing that popped up with a trans person who said that in 2017, Guy Beam here, Dr. Disrespect, allegedly had sexual relations with them as well at that time, as well as
They
another
posted
person.
all their DMs and a picture with them.
Exactly. A picture of them floated out there now that you can clearly see is both of them, and the DMs of their communications, which I didn't think were too explicit all the way, but it was enough to definitely lead to sexual conversation. Danny, you were saying some things, and I wanted to get your thoughts on it. I want to get all of you guys' thoughts. We got to be a bit succinct because we're pressing bad time here, but definitely want to get all you guys' takes. What's your thoughts on this, Danny?
Yeah, I mean, the point that you made earlier about there is a certain amount of possibility of when accusations like this come out of it being false. I think that that's true to a point, right? Like we saw that with what was his name, the guy who played Namor in Marvel. Like it turned out that he hadn't done anything and that was fake.
Yeah,
like there are situations like that happen, and so I understand. I am of the mindset that when these things first come out, you should be like don't defend the person necessarily, but you can just take a step back and be like, okay, let's wait until some facts come out about this, right?
Mm-hmm.
Let's just wait a minute and see what happens. In this situation, it became obvious so quickly that these accusations were in fact correct, because every single time that we saw Turtle Beach is backed out, this person is back, this person is distancing themselves from whatever, every single time that phrase was preceded by after our own investigation. Every single time, right? So it was from the time, obviously this happened 4 years ago or whatever, but from the time that this became real public knowledge relatively recently, it was pretty clear almost immediately that this man has done things that he should not have done. And the situation is that I also believe what he said. I believe what he said in that one tweet or whatever he put out, where he was like, yes, I did this thing. We didn't actually do whatever. So, I'll be back. Unfortunately, I believe that. I believe that 100%. Yep. Because the fact of the matter is, if he didn't do anything that was criminally illegal, he probably won't suffer any real penalties for it. In fact, he'll probably take this vacation that he's taking, and he'll come back I don't know, a couple months later, and his fan base will be like, oh, we missed you, thank God you're back.
Mm-hmm.
What platform he'll be on though?
Yeah, I have no
YouTube's
idea.
Gonna keep him.
He'll find.
That's the point I was gonna bring up.
Exactly.
He
He even put out a statement saying that they're questioning what to do right now.
Yeah, the fact of the matter is, he is a big name. Somebody will take the check over whatever. He will find a platform, unfortunately. So it sucks, right? This guy has clearly done something that he absolutely should not have done, and fortunately, I guess he wasn't able to follow through on it, either because he started getting caught or whatever. He wasn't able to actually follow through on his like very clear criminal activity, and so he's kind of going to get away with it to a certain extent, right? Like this will never go away for him. There will always be people in his chat who will be like, oh, you suck, you touch kids, you struck a chord, it's probably a minor, and like that's not going away. But he's gonna keep making money. Like that's like his career is not over, and I think that kind of sucks. Like this is a situation where this man clearly has a problem, and even just reaching out, like if you were having a DM with a fan who was a minor and he was just like, hey, I'm a big fan and whatever, like sure, fine. And it was just like a, hey, thanks for watching, no problem. Like it's not a situation where like you talk to a minor, like you're done. No, but the fact that he comes out and he's like, we were talking about some things we probably shouldn't have been talking about. I was like, you're sugarcoating this. You were talking about having sex with this person.
Right.
That is clearly what this conversation was. Like this is there is no two ways about this. That is what this conversation was. And in my opinion, that means like that is proof of intent. And we might not be able to like criminally prosecute that, but we should socially prosecute that. Like we should not continue to support this man on any level.
Agreed.
We should not follow his streams. And like this is not the first situation in which Dr. Disrespect has done something stupid. Like he got in trouble forever ago for live streaming in a bathroom.
Yeah.
Like he has been, every time I hear about this guy, it's for bad reasons, with the one exception of the time that he opened that game studio and gave some people jobs. And now they're distancing themselves from him because they can't be seen with him. They would rather probably fade into obscurity than continue to move forward with this horrible, like probably diseased fan base. Because that is what it's going to be. It's the boys situation. We were talking about this in the green room a little bit. It's the boys situation where like even though this person has done something terrible and we all saw it, there are going to be people who are like, yeah, dude, I love this guy. I'm so glad. Like, or they'll defend him. They'll be like, he didn't actually do anything, so nothing was wrong. No, like there's no situation where this should be defended. If you are somebody who is hearing what we're saying or has heard this story and you continue to support him in a meaningful way, if you like subscribe to his Patreon, I don't even know if he has one, if you like give him super chats on whatever platform he ends up on, like you're not a criminal, but you're part of the problem.
Yep.
So I just want to keep that in mind, right? Moving forward, like this is very clearly an admission of guilt. He said what he did, and it might not be criminally, it's not a criminal issue, but it needs to be something that he can't come back from. Like we need to try and find a way to make sure that this affects him in a monetary way, because otherwise more people will do it and will get away with it.
Because like he has a platform with access to children.
Yep. Millions.
Yeah.
Right? Like you can't allow someone who does these things to have that easy access to do these things again.
Yeah.
Okay? And this isn't something like he said the wrong thing, like that, and that was awful. He harmed children.
Yeah.
Right? This is very different than like just doing something socially unacceptable. He did something that's just unacceptable.
Yeah, this is a father who has a child and should know better.
He did something that crosses a, like, it's very far beyond the line that I have. Like, there's some things that people do some stupid shit, I'm like, fine, you go away for 3 months, you come back, whatever. This is a child we're talking about, right? And it's disgusting. It's disgusting. And remember, this isn't, like, this is the same year, because this happened in 2017. He was banned in 2024, it happened in 2017. This is the same year that he was cheating on his wife.
Yeah.
This is the same year that he had to come out, and he came out before the story broke that he was cheating on his wife. Which really makes you question, if he was cheating on his wife that year with someone that wasn't this, and now this is coming out, how much more has happened? Because I can almost guarantee this is not the only instance of him because it's already an abuse of power to kind of do this with your audience in general. We saw that with Ryan Haywood at Rooster Teeth.
Right.
And it's already kind of messed up to use your position of power to get laid, so to speak, in this case.
Mm-hmm.
This is a child, though, that now he supposedly has known was a child. But he's an adult on the internet. Before he sends anything kind of sexually explicit in a message, he should be like, is this a child? Okay, moving on.
Exactly.
Right?
But he
like,
knew here.
Period. End of story.
Exactly.
I don't care if it doesn't matter if he knew or not. I mean, it's more disgusting that he knew.
Right.
Right?
Yeah.
If Rod is, and I believe Rod, if Rod is to be believed, it's more disgusting. But you're an adult in a position of power, and your audience is primarily children.
I mean, you put on a clown costume and
responsibility.
stream. Like, what audience were you expecting to attract, right?
You have a responsibility to make sure. Hey, you shouldn't be in DMs with children.
Yeah, probably not at all. Yeah.
Probably not at all.
Yeah. And it's like you
like,
said, if as soon as that person
especially
hit
in
him up,
his
he could have
position.
easily asked, "Hey,
Yeah.
I don't want to, I can't communicate with you if you're a certain age. How old are you?" If you're asking a certain question like, "Hey, how do I stream?" That's reasonable.
Yeah.
Hey, how
Or
do I
just
do
like-
this? Oh, yeah, well, okay, yeah, you do this, go through this step. Okay, have a good day. But to carry on with a conversation that was inappropriate, as he puts it, which was, we know, was sexual. He could say what he wants.
100%. That's the only thing that could possibly be
Exactly. What else could
in
you
this
say?
context.
To do that, it's like you said, Crusader, and Danny,
It's
he's
wrong.
in a position. Not only is it wrong, it's morally wrong, right? But
Yeah,
he's in a position of
any way you
power.
look at
He
it,
knows
it's
that.
wrong. Even if it's not a child, it's wrong. But the
Yeah.
child makes it worse.
Mhm.
Knowing that they were a child makes it even worse.
Yep.
Like, it's just unacceptable.
Yeah.
Like, so many levels of unacceptable. Like there's you read a sentence, and what he admitted to, he's just burying himself.
Yep.
Right? Like,
Yep.
and I don't want to. He needs to not have a platform to reach children anymore.
I don't think he
I don't
should
really
have a
care about
platform
the
at
rest
all.
of it. I don't care about the rest of his personal life.
Yeah.
I don't care about the rest of it. He needs to not have access to children.
Mm-hmm.
Right?
And and he's a father, by the way.
Yeah.
Like, a lot of these weirdos happen to be married with kids, but like, he's in a very specific position of responsibility and power. And you have that type of power, and you choose to use it. Like, I'm always baffled by that when these dudes have access to full adult women who would gladly throw themselves at them, and they choose, oh, let me go talk to a kid. Now, this is all alleged, of course, because we're not trying to get sued into oblivion or something. So we don't have specific proof to say that this guy did this, but from what's being alleged by these folks, that's what we're going off of.
Yeah, I mean, it does seem pretty clear at this point, but technically nothing has been 100% proven yet.
There's a reason why when the people, so to not get you horribly demonetized or anything like that, the people that Chris Hansen goes after is the phrase I'm gonna use.
Yeah.
The people that Chris Hansen goes after, there's a reason why they're not allowed to have access to electronic devices if they are found guilty of the crime, right? So they can't have easy access to children. And he has self-admitted to being one hair away from committing the crime, right? Like, one step away from being on Chris Hansen's show with the responses that people give on Chris Hansen's show.
That's what
I'm just saying. Search his hard drive.
It's like
That's
the
all I'm
exact
saying.
same.
It's what it sounded like. Oh, I didn't have intentions. They say the same thing when they're caught.
South Park's gonna make a parody on this.
Oh yeah, absolutely, 100%.
Oh, tomorrow it'll be out tomorrow.
No way.
The freaking Boondocks or something. Yeah.
Yeah. But Kiryu, I do want to get to you because we have to wrap it up, and I want to do that respin. Just so you guys would know, I said it in the chat, but unfortunately, Blind Riot, you disqualified, brother. You didn't follow the steps fully. We're going to check for whoever wins this spin. If you didn't follow it through as well, you'll be eliminated again, and we'll have to do the respin again, probably next week or something. But Blind Riot didn't follow the rules fully, so he unfortunately is disqualified himself. So we're going to do a respin after we finish this discussion, and good luck to everybody else. I want to remove his name, of course, so he doesn't just pull back up. What if he won it again if I respun it without me removing him? But Kiryu, what were your thoughts on this, brother? What was your whole takeaway from this? And your like, obviously, none of us here would ever support this guy, but what's your whole feelings on this situation?
I didn't catch if it was Crusader or Daniel that said it, but one of them said one of the two things I was definitely gonna try to nail on the head. Even if the story doesn't stop here, there's more. Whatever the case is, even if YouTube was to step forward and be like, "Oh, hey, so we did our own thing, and we can't have someone like this on our platform," he's only done if he decides he's done. He can easily go to Kick. He could, if he wanted to, he could do Rumble. I don't know if anyone watches gaming stuff on Rumble. I know Kaisenet and Speed did they did like what, a collab. It was like a few episodes or something. But like I don't see him going anywhere unless he wants to go somewhere. Unless, of course, something does happen with the story, like he did actually do something that, okay, now he can get charged and now it's done.
Right.
But something I wanted to hit on as well was, and it's not just like people think it's just social media, but it's not. I feel like we've always, especially in the States, there's always been this type of, I don't know what label I would put it, but basically like a negative culture, like, people used to be like, if I didn't like someone, all I gotta do was say, "Oh, she's a witch," and she's dead. Burn her.
Witch hunt.
And then you fast forward in time, and it was just the next big thing. There was racial stuff before. Then it was after the World Wars. It was the Red Scare. If you didn't like your neighbor, all you had to do was say, "Oh, I think they're a communist," and their life was over. And this is just a new era of the same thing. So anytime someone says something kind of crazy, that I know this is a very random thing and it looks like I'm trying to monetize off of this, but this guy might be a PDF. Yeah, I talked to a minor, and then just no elaboration. Of course, and like I agree with Umbra. I was just looking at that like, okay, that's all they're saying. That looks like they're trying to make money off of this. This is very random. I'm not gonna, I don't trust this. I'm gonna wait. But there were so many people that were like, "Oh yeah, I want this to be true," and I hate that. I hate that mob mentality, because it doesn't matter who it is. Someone could come out tomorrow. It could be like Jay-Z or someone, and there's gonna be a crowd of people they're like, it's like they love it. It's like they were living for this moment, and I don't know why we're like that.
Yeah.
But the second that he made that first tweet, then it was like, okay, what'd you do, bro? Because just the first one,
The one to
just
Jake?
the first one.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
when it comes to the whole cancel culture thing, the problem with the social media thing is that, yeah, it's, we've had a couple times where cancel culture and even Me Too, people took advantage of that, and there were some ridiculous, crazy stories, and then there were situations where stuff wasn't true.
True.
And because of how much of this type of stuff has become like, it's popular, whether it's good or bad, it's just popular for these situations to happen in the media now.
Yeah, I mean,
it's backpedal to people defending the person no matter what. Like, oh, I hate cancel culture, so I don't see pictures of this guy actually touching a minor, so you know what? I'm gonna watch him.
Yeah,
Because there's 125,000 people who like that tweet, and it's like that's why I don't think anything's gonna happen to him that should happen. I think he's gonna be fine. Even if YouTube got rid of him, he can come back on whatever he wants. Because people have gone from, I don't know, we should make sure.
Or on Facebook.
Yeah, you can stream on Twitter too, and Elon Musk could probably let him.
I could see Elon doing it for sure. Yep.
So, I don't know, because you're right. Like, there is the extreme sides of this, where there's the people who like are out for blood and have been out for blood since day one, and there's the people who will defend him no matter what. Like, that definitely exists. I will say, like, whenever accusations like this come out, like, we do have to take them seriously, though. Like, we don't have to immediately jump to like, kill him, burn the witch, but we do have to take them seriously and like look into it.
Yep.
Because if you are a victim and you're trying to speak out about something like this, the idea that those people who are going to immediately attack you, who do exist and will continue to defend people like this no matter what, they will come at you the second that you make an accusation like this, even if it is true. And so we do need to be understanding when these things come out, to at least hear that person out and make sure that they feel safe talking about it, because otherwise we'll never know. And then people like Drake or Dr. Disrespect or whatever will continue to be able to get away with these things because no one will feel comfortable coming out and talking about it, right? So we do need to take this seriously. We don't need to immediately jump to like end this man's career, like kill this person off. Like we don't need to jump to that, but we do need to, as soon as one of these accusations comes out, not attack either party, but just take a step back and wait for some details to come out.
100%. Yep. Yeah. You have to
I'm
be
actually
rational.
very curious if any of this was ever even referred to law enforcement. Very curious.
I wonder
because
too.
from the sounds of it, everything ended in arbitration and never actually went to court. So I'm very curious if any of this was ever even referred to law enforcement.
I know a lot of people were upset with Twitch too, thinking like, "Oh, you tried to hide this and everything." But I think it's a bit of a deeper layer.
We still don't know because they
Right.
haven't detailed what they did, right?
True.
Because like if they come out and say, "Oh yeah, everything was referred to law enforcement," and law enforcement either is investigating or has done nothing, that's a different story, right?
True.
Like, but you know, if they went to arbitration and were forced to sign NDAs because they had lost their suit in the arbitration settlement, that's a different story. But if they didn't refer this to the authorities, that's bad. Right? If the authorities said that there isn't a strong enough case to do anything about it, right? Because this borderlines like a very hard to make but possible to make case, like with sexual exploitation of minors. Because I forget what the exact term is, but it's like guiding them towards
grooming.
Grooming is the catch-all term, but there is a legalese term for the crime.
I'll Google it.
And this borders on that.
I'll get put on a watch list by Googling what's the legal term for grooming.
Yeah.
Right.
Real fast.
This borderlines on that. And so if they did kind of sweep it under the rug and didn't report this to the authorities properly, you know, that's a crime in California and b a like federal crime. Mandated reporters are a thing.
Yeah.
And it's just very like I'm at the point where like I've heard enough to know that like my man told me enough to know that he did stupid shit that like I'm done and disgusted with him.
Yep. Same.
Now I want to know what Twitch did about it.
I want to know that, and I would love to hear that conversation or see that conversation. Should I say? Yeah, I agree.
Yeah.
I know Twitch was likely also, you know, protecting the minor, to
protecting
be fair.
their brand.
Yeah,
they wanted to go away.
Definitely their brand. That's no question. And they did the right thing parting ways with him, you know, but I don't know. It's too much left out there that we don't know.
Yeah.
You know.
It looks like they do just call it grooming, but it's often conflated with a similar but slightly different term called solicitation.
Yeah, there's a I forget what the exact title the title for it is.
I'm just looking at child or Texas
close.
law is what, so they refer to it as child grooming, and then they're like they go on to talk about how solicitation of a minor is like another thing that is similar but I guess legally distinct in some way.
And like so solicitation is like speaking them in a way to attempt to get them to meet up with you.
Yeah.
Grooming is far more advanced than that. It usually involves solicitation.
I'm sure would have to theoretically.
Right.
Yeah.
Well, that bit of depressing bit of discussion aside, at least the topic of it, like you guys said, my thoughts were this dude will be all right at the end of the day, because like you said, legally they don't have probably at least from what we know,
from the sounds of it,
they don't have anything on him legally to get him. And I mean, he's defiant himself. He knows his base will still be there and support him. We've seen worse people still support him. So I hate to say that, but society has shown us time and time again, hey, we'll still be here and be trashed. Like, it is what it is. At this point, it's what we've come to expect. I'm going to do this spin again. Blind Riot again. I don't know if you're here or around, or you'll see this on later. Unfortunately, brother, you had disqualified yourself because you didn't follow the rules completely. I'm not going to go into detail right now, but we're going to do another spin. Good luck to everybody, and then we're going to get out of here with outros. Let's see. Good luck.
spin, 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 spin. We need some background music for this.
I know, right?
Let's see.
Evidence found.
You know, while it is spinning, I think it's really funny that Andrew and Tristan Tate just recently said they like Dr. Disrespect, and then this happens. I think that's
Wow.
funny timing. I
They-
just remembered that.
They have the opposite of the Midas touch.
It's just bad people flock together.
Yeah.
Oh?
P. Roca. Okay.
Alrighty.
All right. P. Roca. Now, Kiryu, I guess we might as well do this real time. See if that person followed their part.
I got you. I'm
Yeah.
trying.
Let's see. Because we might have to do another spin.
Let's see. And that's their Twitter at, correct?
That's their name. Their username is P. Roca.
Okay.
Roca.
It would be enticement of a minor with an electronic device.
Mm.
It's a violation of 18 USC 2422. It's the law. Enticement and coercion.
I'm actually having trouble finding this person.
Let's see.
Is it still spinning? That's crazy.
Oh no, it stopped.
This is going to be a short episode too. That's crazy.
I know, right? What the hell happened? I need to leave that like that for now.
Okay, dokie. Yeah, I found the first one extremely quickly, but I don't see this person unless they also didn't meet all the requirements. I can't find them.
That would be hilarious if this person also didn't do it. Let's see.
We're gonna be spinning all night, brother. Shoot. Already got someone saying, just spin it. Spin it again. Just do it again.
Yeah, of course you all are saying that. You all want to win.
Let's see.
I'm not finding them either. Unless they may have unfollowed. It was one person that a few people that did that, by the way. They were following and then unfollowed, I guess, thinking like, okay,
Man.
I did my part, now I can get out of here.
They didn't even wait for the contest.
Right. And it was like, you eliminated.
Dude.
I am scrolling now. I'm gonna have to do this another time, maybe.
Trying to buy y'all some video games, y'all being complicated.
Yep. See, it's one guy I'm looking at right now
Uh-huh.
who unfollowed. I see Rock.
Third time the charm, or should we just wait?
I want to find.
Hey,
him
gentlemen,
just
I
in
do
case.
have to run. So,
Okay.
mind if I do my
Let,
outro?
let me do
while-
your outro. Yeah.
Yeah.
Thanks again for joining us, brother. Tell the good folks
No
where they can find you and where you'll be.
Yeah, you can find me at Crusader3456 on Twitter if you want to see old man shake hand at console companies to attempt to get more games backwards compatible and available on their systems. I'm your guy. And you can catch me at 9 o'clock Eastern Standard Time on the TXR channel on YouTube, where I do a podcast with many fine gentlemen.
Nice. Yep. You guys go and check them out. His information is in the description. And give our brother a follow. Thank you, brother. We'll talk with you later.
Yeah, see it.
Later.
Later, Crusader.
Later, Crusader. So let's just get out of here. I'll have to look at this. If it turns out this person can't be found, guys, keep an eye out. I'll just do another spin this coming week, and I'll give away 2 codes. It'll be one from Kiryu, and it'll be one from myself. So you all might luck out. Maybe it'll be 2 giveaways next week for this game. Or I'll try to do it as soon as I pop. I'm sure you guys don't want to wait until next Thursday. We'll see. Anyway, Kiryu, thanks for joining us, brother. First time on the show, and I think possibly doing a podcast in general, right?
Yeah, this is my first time hopping on with you or any podcast. I've only streamed before, never been on a podcast before.
Yeah, man.
This is definitely fun.
It was fun. It was absolutely. I mean, one of the discussion points wasn't too fun, but
Oh yeah, no, that part was like the bad part of the history class.
yeah. But it was a discussion that I feel that needed to be had, right? So
Definitely, and let you make a funny name too, the Shadow of Disrespect.
exactly.
But thank you for letting me on. If I'm able to hop on to the next one, since it looks like we might be having to do the 2 codes, then I would definitely love to come back. Whether it's that one or anyone, I would definitely love to be here again.
Yep, definitely. I mean,
yeah.
if anything, even if I don't do it and I just do it through on my Twitter page,
Yeah,
figure
we
it
could
out.
like open a space and do it quickly or something. We
Yeah.
can figure this out.
We'll figure it out. All of you guys that have entered, you'll still be carried on into the next one. I cannot find this person. I'm going to do my due diligence and try again to look them up and see if I can find them. If I do not find them, be on the lookout for 2 codes next week. So you guys will have 2 chances to get into the shadow of the Erdtree. Yeah, thanks again, brother, for joining us. Danny, thank you for being here and holding us down and doing your thing and giving us solid takes as always, brother.
Yeah.
Tell the good folks where they can find you and where you'll be.
You can find me on Twitter at Daniel J. McGee or at my personal YouTube channel, Daniel McGee, or hopefully, if I can get this project off the ground in the next little while, someplace else. But I'll leave that a mystery.
There you go. It's no mystery in his history, unlike Dr. Disrespect.
It
But
has nothing to do with that. Let me unmystify that particular category.
yeah, nothing too crazy. But yeah, thank you guys all in the chat for being here. We went way longer than I wanted to, but again, I'm not mad at it because it was a discussion that needed to be had. If you all have not done so, hit the like button before you head out. And we'll talk with you again soon. Again, be on the lookout for this giveaway. So probably, even if I do hold one for the show next week, I'll probably do spin over if I cannot find this person to announce the winner. And I'll post the actual spin on my Twitter so you can see it in real time, so you know that there's no funny business or anything like that. Good luck again to all of you, just in case. Thank you guys for being here with us. See you guys later. Oh, I forgot to say myself. Find me on Twitter, Infinite Umbra or Umbra Infinite. You'll find me either way. Tuesdays, booms, 12 o'clock Eastern. Here Thursdays with Danny and myself, and possible rotation of guests if we're not solo doloing it. That's 8 o'clock Eastern. And on Fridays, 8 o'clock Eastern, the Infinite Podcast. No Infinite Podcast this week, though, unfortunately. So, yeah. But and this Saturday, I'll be on PTK's podcast with the fellas. Myself.
Okay.
Yeah, myself and Slow.
What time?
That is at 6 o'clock Eastern, I think.
Okay, sweet.
Or 6 o'clock our time, should I say. 7 o'clock Eastern, I think. I have to check to be sure, but I'll let you know. But yep.
I actually forgot to say, I am not currently doing anything, but you can follow me on Twitter. It's just Twitter at YoungKiryu.
There you go.
Forgot to say that.
That's all right. That's all right. His information is also in the description, so you guys give my brother a follow, and maybe if you stalk him enough, he might give you a code for free for the Erdtree. I don't know.
Who knows?
Anyway, we'll see you guys later. You all have a good one.